A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. K is for Kroger, C is for cut, B is for beef. KCB means Kroger cut beef, and Kroger cut beef means more meat for your money. Remember that fact, ladies. Remember that Kroger cut beef gives you more meat, less waste, and for this reason. Before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Yes, that's before the meat is weighed and priced. And listen, you get the top U.S. government grades of beef. Yes, it's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. So you get better value in top-grade beef. Let's take a Kroger cut chuck roast as an example. Before the roast is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess waste and stringy meat. You're bound to get a better value because you get more solid meat, only a minimum of bone. No matter which you prefer, steak or roast, you receive more meat, less waste in Kroger cut beef. But make that discovery for yourself. Visit your neighborhood Kroger store and make it a rule to buy Kroger cut beef. It gives you more meat for your money. And now, Hearts in Harmony. Unaware that Barry Carlton, her fiancé, died from the injuries he received in an automobile accident in which both he and Penny Gibbs were involved, Penny, though still in the hospital, has gradually regained her strength. Her face, however, is badly scarred, and doctors fear that injury to her eyes may eventually develop into blindness. It's morning now, and there's a knock at the door of Penny's hospital room.
Come in.
Good morning, beautiful.
Hello, Dr. Evans. Come on in.
That's what I intend doing, Miss Gibbs. I'm not satisfied just sticking my head in and saying hello. I have a rather bad case of it, you know.
A bad case of what?
Well, if I were a little boy in short pants, my mother would say it was infatuation. But since I'm a big boy in long pants, maybe it's love.
Oh, stop.
And don't tell me I say that to all my patients.
Oh, don't you?
Nope. To only 1/3 of them. The other 2/3 are either men or old women.
Shame on you. Don't tell me you're nasty to old women.
Oh, I hate them. They call me Sonny.
It's probably for your disposition.
For my youth, I'll hide my face behind a set of old-fashioned whiskers when I'm through interning. And then maybe I'll get an occasional doctor out of even old women. You know, I didn't plug through medical school to be called Sonny.
No, I guess you didn't. What's your first name, Dr. Evans? I never have known it.
Joel. Joel Evans, Jr.
Dr. Joel Evans, Jr., you mean?
Come the whiskers, yes.
Was your father a doctor?
A doctor of souls, Miss Gibbs. Of hearts and a healer of faith. A minister.
Oh.
Well, you don't have any objections to a doctor who's the son of a minister, do you?
Heavens, no. Why in the world should I? Are you people from Henderson?
No, from out west. It was all my father could do to keep me from carrying out my childhood vow to become a cowpuncher.
Well, I, for one, am glad he changed your mind.
Oh, I changed it myself. But my father says I'm still a puncher. Not a cowpuncher, but a people puncher.
Well, I think he's right after all those needles you stuck in my arm the first few days I was here.
Well, thanks to those needles, you're still alive.
I realize that. I'm not complaining.
Well, even if you are, it's all right. You know, I yell murder when somebody sticks a needle in me. Say, have you been reading?
Oh, just a little bit. It's awfully difficult just to lie here hour after hour doing nothing.
Yes, I know it is. But Dr. Weston doesn't want you to use your eyes any more than you have to. You're not going to force us to cover them to rest them, are you?
Oh, no. Now, that'll take me back to the days when my face was in bandages, and I don't want that. I'll be a good girl. I won't read.
Swell. Dr. Weston contacted Dr. Jennifer about your eyes. They're old schoolmates, you know. He'll be here next week, and, well, then we'll know the whole story.
Dr. Jennifer? Is he the expensive specialist?
Expensive is right, but nothing but the best for you, Miss Gibbs.
I wonder how the family got the money.
Oh, I don't imagine your family is considering the cost right now, Miss Gibbs. And as a matter of fact, Dr. Jennifer won't charge a dime just to look at you. He's doing this for Dr. Weston. Besides, he never charges for a first visit when people come to see him.
That's very fair of him, isn't it?
Well, it's his way of encouraging people with eye trouble to come to him. You know, a lot of people won't go to a doctor like Jennifer because they think it costs money just to walk into his office.
He's coming next week, Do you know exactly when?
No, I don't. Does it make any difference?
Oh, no, I just wondered. Dr. Evans, has anyone told Barry about my eyes?
No.
Well, I hope no one does. I don't want him to worry.
No one will tell him, Miss Gibbs. I understand that fellow Keith was here to see you yesterday.
Yes, he was.
Nice-looking guy. Where does he rate?
None of them rate at all. None except Barry.
Oh, you must rate them all some way or another. I'm interested because, well, I have no wife and kiddies waiting for me in the doorway of a vine-covered cottage after I come home after a hard day at the office.
I'm sure you'll have the wife and the kiddies in the cottage one of these days.
What? No vines?
Oh, pardon me for forgetting the vines.
Well, you're forgiven, providing you sign a contract with me to help plant the vines when the house is built.
Barry and I will both help you.
Nope. I want just you.
Well, we'll see. Dr. Evans, when can I see Barry?
I'll have to talk to Dr. Weston about that. Nurse Brill tells me you're eating a lot better these days. I'm glad to hear it.
Dr. Evans. Dr. Evans, why does everyone change the subject every time I mention Barry?
Do they?
Every time I so much as mention his name.
Why, I wasn't aware of that.
You just changed the subject just now.
Did I?
You know you did.
Well, if I did, it wasn't conscious.
I think it was. I'd like to know why. Dr. Evans, why can't I be told about Barry, how he is, how he's getting along? Why can't I see him?
I'll speak to Dr. Weston.
That's what everybody says. I'll speak to Dr. Weston. Well, I want to see Barry. I'll demand to see Barry and know a good reason why, and I'll speak to Dr. Weston.
Wait, Miss Gibbs. Don't phone him just now. He's in conference.
I'm sorry. I'm going to talk to him.
Please trust me. I'll see him the minute he's out of conference.
All right.
Thanks, Miss Gibbs. And please don't excite yourself like that.
I will unless I get to see Barry.
Dr. Weston should be free in a few minutes. I'll be outside his office waiting for the conference to break up. I'll see him for you then. And that's a promise.
I'll get it, Nora. Hello?
I'd like to speak to Mrs. Jed Billings, please.
This is Miss Billings.
Oh, Mrs. Billings, this is Dr. Weston at the Heatherton Hospital.
Oh, yes, Dr. Weston.
Oh, Mrs. Billings, Dr. Evans just came in to see me.
Uh-huh.
It seems your daughter insists on seeing young Carlton.
Oh, dear. Can't she be talked out of it?
I'm afraid the stage of talking her out of it is past, and we've run out of excuses for keeping her away from him.
Well, then, that means we have to tell her, doesn't it?
Yes, I'm afraid it does.
But, Doctor, is she strong enough to be told?
We'll have to take that chance. We'll stand by ready for a collapse, Mrs. Billings, but I think you should be alone with her when she's told, or she'll guess that something's the matter.
So far, she has no idea?
None whatever. We've done a good job of keeping it from her. In some ways, I'm sorry. How soon can you get here?
Well, there's no one here to drive me down. I'll have to take a train.
When can you leave?
Let's see. I can make the 5:30. That'll get me into Heatherton about 7 o'clock.
Good. Dr. Evans will be able to stall her off till then. And I'll drive down to the station to meet you.
All right.
Heatherton doesn't have much of what you'd call a fleet of taxicabs.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Weston. I'll see you at the station at 7 then. And I hope before I see Penny I can think of a gentle way. Tell him.
Here's my car right here, Mrs. Billings.
It was awfully nice of you to drive down to pick me up, Dr. Weston. I know how busy you are.
Well, I consider this to be the line of duty to my patient, Mrs. Billings. After all, this is the news for which we've been building her up. It's your sad lot to deliver that news. Here we are. I'll just put your bag in back. You're going to spend the night at the hospital, I take it?
Well, I rather imagined I'd have to.
Yes, perhaps you will. And I'll just slide in ahead of you if you don't mind.
No, of course not.
And how was the trip down? Oh, can you reach the door?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Well, the trip down wasn't a pleasant one, Dr. Weston, as you can well imagine.
Yes, I can. Have you decided how you'll tell her?
No, I haven't.
Well, perhaps that's just as well, Mrs. Billings. In matters like this, it's always best to arrange what you have to say to accord with the mood and feelings of the person to whom you're bringing the news.
It's bound to be a shock to her, Dr. Weston.
Yes, it will be. But Dr. Evans and I will be out in the hall just outside her room, and in case we're needed.
I thought you were going to spend a few days in Rossville. You do need the rest.
Well, I thought I'd put off the rest until you're a little better, Penny.
Oh, darling, I'm all right. I understand Dr. Jennifer's coming next week to look at my eyes. You want to be here then?
I'll be here. Darling, tell me truthfully, how do you feel?
I feel all right. But I feel a lot better if they let me see Barry.
I know, dear.
Mother, I have to see him or be given a logical reason why I shouldn't. And don't change the subject this time, please.
Have I changed the subject before?
Every time I say anything about Barry, you and everybody else changes the subject.
Penny, I have to tell you something.
There you go. You see, you are changing the subject.
No, this isn't changing the subject. This is about Barry and about you.
I see. Well, darling, what is it?
Penny, it may seem wrong for me to say this, but it isn't fair for anyone to devote his or her life to one thing or one person.
I know that.
But your entire life is wrapped up in Barry, isn't it?
In a way it is. Why shouldn't it be?
Well, because so much can happen to change that.
Mother, do you have to go to the window? I can't hear you very well.
Well, I'm sorry, darling, but I have something awfully unpleasant to tell you. No, it's more than that. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to say to anyone. And I guess I just don't have the courage to face you when I say it.
Is it about Barry?
Yes, darling. It's about Barry. And maybe you know. Maybe you can guess why we haven't let you see him.
You mean he's disfigured? Well, what difference would that make to me? Look at my face, Mother. Look at my...
No, darling. It's not that.
Then what is it?
It's worse than that, Penny. Or maybe in some small way. For him, I mean. It's a blessing.
Oh, Mother. Oh, Mother, you don't mean...
I mean, darling, I mean that Barry is gone.
So at last, Penny has been told of Barry's death. And now that she knows, what will happen to her? Will her own life be lost because she no longer has a will to live? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. KCB. KCB. KCB means Kroger cut beef. And Kroger cut beef means more meat for your money. Right. Kroger cut beef gives you more meat, less waste. Because before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Take a Kroger cut round steak or roast, for example. The Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess waste and stringy meat before the steak or roast is weighed and priced. You get a minimum of bone, and you get top U.S. government grades of beef. Beef that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. But visit your neighborhood Kroger store and see for yourself. And remember, whether you buy a steak or a roast, Kroger cut beef gives you more meat for your money. Ladies, make plans right this instant to visit your neighborhood Kroger store, the only place you can buy Kroger cut beef. Surprise and delight your family with a delicious and juicy steak or roast. And remember, in Kroger cut beef, you get more meat for your money, because the Kroger method of cutting beef gives you more meat, less waste. Make it a rule to get Kroger cut beef at your neighborhood Kroger store. Be sure to join us again Monday, same time, same station, for another thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers. First major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. 14 women in your city have been robbed and beaten. You've got a half dozen descriptions of their attacker. None of them match. The man's still free. Your job, get him. Chesterfield's For Me. You hear it everywhere. Tonight, we hear from America's #1 band leader, Ray Anthony, who, with his attractive wife, Dee, plays college dates from coast to coast.
In cigarettes, the young crowd really goes for Chesterfields. I've noticed that wherever we've played. And I guess it's one of the reasons Chesterfield is America's most popular two-way cigarette. Of course, Dee and I are Chesterfield smokers, too. We know they're best for us.
Chesterfield's For Me. You hear it everywhere. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, change to Chesterfield. They satisfy millions.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, November 26th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. I was on my way back to the office, and it was 2:34 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery.
Come on, Joe. Everybody into the skipper's office.
All right. I tagged by R&I to pick up these packages.
Anything on them?
No, not much. We'll check them out, but they don't look like they're going anyplace.
Yeah, go ahead. Joe, Frank, you want to come over here?
Yes. Sorry we're late.
Don't worry about it. Let's get this thing on the road.
All right.
You want to settle down? Let's get started. The word's probably gotten to you about why we're here. It's on this purse snatching thing Friday and Smith have got. Things gotten way out of hand. Thief hit again the night before last. Victim's at the county hospital in a critical condition. She was pistol whipped, and it looks like she's got a fractured skull. It's only a matter of time before somebody's killed. That's the reason we're here, to see that it doesn't happen. Now, you all got mimeographed MO sheets. On it, you'll find what information we've got. Some of it's pretty broad, but it's the best we've been able to come up with. Friday and Smith have handled the thing to here, so I'll let them give you the details. You want to tell them?
Yeah, right, Skipper. Well, first off, you'll notice on those MO sheets, all of the crimes have been listed in the order that they happened. Also the place and the time. There's also a description of the clothing the suspect wore, and when we could get it, a description of the suspect. Now, you'll notice that in most cases, there's quite a difference there on the physical description of the suspect. However, we've been able to put them all together, and we've come up with a composite drawing that should look something like the suspect. The one thing that's fairly constant is the description of the clothing worn by the suspect. It's almost always dark. Wears a hat, and he's been known to wear a top coat. Now, the hat and the coat are also of dark material. Clear there, everybody? All right, now, take a look over here at the wall map. Now, we've pinpointed all the jobs so you can get a little better picture of the operation. Can you all see there?
Yeah.
All right. Now, the first one took place at 73rd Street, just off Broadway. Right here. The rest of the pins along here show the jobs that he made from there. All the way up to Jefferson. He's also worked Avalon Boulevard, Central Avenue, any street where there's a streetcar or a bus line, he's hit. He works between the hours of 5:30 and 11:30 p.m. The approach is almost always the same. Frank, you want to tell him about the victim?
Yeah. The victim will get off the streetcar usually, or the bus, whatever it is, and starts to walk home. As soon as the woman gets in the area that's not lighted well or that hasn't got much traffic, the guy walks up behind her and grabs him. After that, he tries to take her purse. If the victim offers any resistance, well, he usually slugs him. Because of the fact that two of the victims have seen a gun in his hand, we know he's armed. So the gun's been described as a revolver, too.
Mm-hmm. How about a car, Joe? Excuse me. Suspect drive one?
Car?
Yeah.
Well, we've got to assume that, yeah. He's been seen a couple of times by people in the neighborhoods as he ran through their yards. It's pretty safe to figure that he's got a car parked on a side street somewhere. None of the victims have seen a car, however, but we know he leaves the area immediately.
Mm-hmm. No description of the vehicle, huh?
No. No, we've had a couple of calls, but they didn't check out. Now, the plan here is to use policewomen as decoys and try to bait him out into the open. That's the reason the women officers are here.
You figure to work the main arterials?
What was that?
You figure to work the main arterials?
Yeah, there'll be 2 officers assigned to follow each policewoman. Now, we've been able to obtain 10 in all. That'll mean that 20 officers will be assigned to them. The rest of you will be in the area somewhere. Now, one of the things to look for is any vehicle which closely follows a streetcar or a bus.
Yeah, what happened?
How about it? Any questions?
Yes, how are we going to get our assignments?
Well, the skipper here has a list, Looney. All of the officers who are to work with a policewoman are noted. Now, the others are given the areas that they're supposed to patrol.
What about other calls coming in? Who's
What?
going to handle them?
I didn't hear you.
The other calls coming in, who's going to handle them?
Well, those officers not assigned to a policewoman. See, there'll be other units from the outlying areas on the operation, too. They'll lend us a hand. But remember this. Under no circumstances are those officers working with a decoy to leave her. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Don't leave the policewoman.
Right. Well, then we stick with the detail unless there's an emergency call.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, if we run into any problems, who do we call, Joe?
Well, we'll be in the area in 1K80. You can get in touch with us, Harry.
Mm-hmm.
How about it?
Well, if we pick up a suspect, should we get in touch with you?
Well, you can use your own judgment on that, George. If you think it's a routine pickup, take him to robbery and he'll be processed there.
All right.
Any more questions? Skipper, anything else?
We all know about the days off cancellation. Sorry it has to hit now, but that's the way it's got to be. No one will draw any time till this thing is cleaned up.
Right.
Well, Murphy, won't do any good to have your wife call me. You're still going to have to work. And that's it. Operation will start tonight and go until the suspect's in custody. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Okay. So, say, wait a minute. Before you go, the worksheet's on the board outside. You can check it on the way out. You better do that. Right.
Is there anything else you need to carry it off?
No, it's all there, Skipper. The only thing we can use now is luck.
No reason for you to be different. Suspect had his share.
Frank and I left the office and drove out to the area of the operation. The plan was that the policewomen would board the cars and buses and get off at the points where previous sluggings had not taken place. In the established M.O. of the suspect, it was noted that he never hit on any street more than once. At 4 p.m. that afternoon, all of the units were in place and the plan was started. During the night, several pickups were made, but no one was apprehended who resembled the suspect. Those people who were detained were processed and they were either booked or released. The following day, Thursday, November 27, Frank and I checked the reports filed by officers in the field. At 3 p.m., we stopped at a small restaurant and we had a plate of sliced turkey, cold gravy, and some lumpy mashed potatoes. We wished each other a happy Thanksgiving. We went back to Unit 1K80 and cruised the streets marked for surveillance. Another night went by without the suspect hitting. Saturday, November 29th, 11:30 p.m. Frank and I were driving down San Pedro Street at Vernon Avenue.
Looks like another one shot, huh?
Yeah, it's beginning to shape up that way, isn't it?
You figure the suspect knows about the operation? I mean, where we're working?
Well, you got as much as I have. Doesn't seem likely.
You got a cigarette? I'm out.
Yeah. There you go.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a light.
616,
Thanks.
27 North La Brea, traffic accident.
They were sure hacked about Thanksgiving.
Well, that figures.
That didn't make me too mad. She had the in-laws over.
Yeah.
Her brother. One thing about that guy, he can eat more than any 10 people. You know, I've had to sit there and just look at him, and everybody's through, and he's still going strong.
Yeah.
Nephew was over, too. You know Little Sam? You've heard me talk about Little Sam?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Little Sam. Kid's a monster. Only 10 years old, and he's a real monster. His sister lets the kid do whatever comes into his mind. They say it isn't good to repress him.
What?
They say it isn't good to repress him. That's what they... repress him.
Yeah.
I'd like to take him over. I'd repress him.
Yeah, I guess you'd do that real good, wouldn't you?
1K80. 1K80. Meet Unit 1K87 at the 300 block, East 51st Street. Code 2.
1K80, Roger. KMA 367. Let's go.
Yeah, that's one of the units assigned to a decoy. Think it's a good one?
Well, there's one way to find out, isn't there?
Yeah.
Ask him. South Park is located at the corner of San Pedro and 51st Street. One of the policewomen had gotten off a streetcar at the corner of Main Street and 51st. She'd walked east, and as she passed the park, a man had approached, blocked her progress, and demanded money. The man was pretty drunk, and when the officers following the woman arrived at the scene, he was struggling with a policewoman. He was taken into custody, and we were called. We took the man to room 27A, and from there to the interrogation room. Physically, he matched the description of the suspect as we'd gotten it from the victims. 12:15 a.m.
That's the dirtiest thing I ever heard of, pulling me in here like this.
All right, what's your name?
I don't think I'm going to tell you.
Let me see your wallet.
There's nothing in there. No juice.
Empty your pockets on the table.
Did you have a copy of the L.A. phone book?
Come on, mister,
around
empty
here?
your pockets, will you?
All right.
Come on, everything. How about your wallet?
Hey, young man. No juice.
Take the money out.
I told you there's no juice.
No money in the wallet?
No.
All right, how about it? This your true name, Victor Nathaniel Roberts?
You think I use an alias?
Now, don't be smart. Where do you live?
Well, I have no pad.
Where you been sleeping?
Wherever I can.
You got a job?
What?
Do you work?
No.
You ever hold a job?
Nope.
Never had a job?
Can't remember one.
What were you doing on 51st Street tonight?
Oh, I was just looking around.
At 11:30 at night?
The sun hurts my eyes.
All right.
I was just walking along the street when this young woman stopped me.
She stopped you?
She tried to pick me up.
That girl was a policewoman.
You're telling me.
Now, what were you doing out there?
I'm never going there again.
Ever been arrested?
I am now.
Before?
I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, you do that.
I have.
Where?
Oh, all around.
What were you arrested for?
Bag.
Have you done time in California?
Come on, have you done time in California?
Have you?
Yes.
I'll check the record, John.
Is he going to look me up?
What's that?
I say, is he going to look me up?
He's going to check your record, yeah.
Officer, you mind a little constructive criticism?
Now, you listen, mister. Your funny time's running out here.
You must feel a little sneaky about this whole thing, don't you?
What's that?
I mean this whole business about the policewoman. Don't you think that's going too far?
How long you been in Los Angeles?
Oh, sometime this year.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, checked in about a year.
What?
I said I checked in about a year.
A year ago, you mean?
Yeah, about a year ago.
Well, if you haven't got a job, how do you manage to live?
Haven't got a little drink, have you?
Joe.
No.
See you a minute.
Fine. You sit still. What do you got?
Checked R&I, got the word on Roberts.
Yeah, what about him?
Been tagged 67 times for drunk.
All in L.A.?
Total's 92. Doesn't look like he's our man, though.
Why?
Well, he's been in Camarillo for the last 3 months.
We put in a call to the superintendent at the state hospital up at Camarillo. He told us that Victor Roberts had only been released 10 days before. He'd spent 3 months undergoing treatment for alcoholism. The suspect we were looking for had been working for the past 2 months. Roberts was booked in at the main jail on the charge of violation of Section 4127A LAMC. During the time we'd been working on the case, all known purse snatchers had been picked up and interrogated. Runs by the stats office had been made, and the names they gave us had been checked out. Locals and APBs were gotten out, carrying the description and the MO of the suspect. The leads that came in were followed up without result. Informants were questioned, and George Brereton up at CII in Sacramento furnished us a list of possibles. All in all, over 100 people had been questioned. In the course of the investigation, several other cases were cleared, but our prime suspect was still free. Meantime, the operation continued. Each night at 4:30 p.m., 10 policewomen would board streetcars and buses in the area. 10 police cars carrying 20 officers would follow them. In the immediate vicinity, another 40 men were patrolling the streets and alleys looking for the thief. As a result of the newspaper stories on the string of crimes, calls were coming into the complaint board at such a rate that they were jamming our normal facilities. Women refused to walk the streets alone after dark. Apparently, the thief could come and go as he pleased. In the next 2 days, he hit 3 times, but in areas that were not covered. He began to hit in places he hadn't worked before. He seemed to know where we were and that we were using decoys. The search went on. Tuesday, December 2nd, we got a call from the manager of a cheap hotel in the Skid Row area. We drove out to see her.
Right down this way. He's not in.
Well, just what is it you want us to see?
You wait. When you get a good look, you'll know.
Yes, ma'am.
Here we are. I'll get the door. You just come on in.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Over here. I was cleaning up this morning. My girl's sick. Had to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And just cleaning up, and I found them over here in the closet.
Yeah.
Up on the shelf. Can you see them up there? Way back?
Wait a minute. I'll have to get a chair.
Well, I was just straightening up, and I saw them, and I thought to myself, I ought to call the police, get them right out here. That's what I thought to myself.
Yes, ma'am.
I always feel it's the duty of every citizen to cooperate with the police.
Yes, ma'am. You got your flashlight, please?
Huh?
Flashlight.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Well, do you see them up there on the shelf?
Yes, ma'am. Frank?
Yeah?
There's something down there I can pick them up with?
Yeah.
Well, you'll find out anyway. You don't have to worry about fingerprints. I guess I shouldn't have done it. But when I found them, I picked them up, but I put them right back, right where I found them.
Here you are.
Okay.
What you got?
2 women's purses.
Mm-hmm. True. Look inside of them. All kinds of cards and things. No money, but all kinds of other stuff. You just look.
Who has this room?
You mean registered?
Yeah.
Well, he gave his name as Jerry Kilgallen. You asked me, though. I think it's phony.
He take the room alone, did he?
Oh, absolutely. This is a hotel for men. Don't allow no women in.
Is it possible that somebody else left these purses up there?
Hardly. These rooms are cleaned every day, cleaned thoroughly. I don't miss anything.
Yes, ma'am.
How about the identification in them, Joe?
No, I don't recognize the names. We'll have to check them. Take a look at this, though. No, here, on the lining of the purse. This one.
Oh, yeah. You better get it to the lab, huh?
What is it? You find something?
We're not sure.
Well, what is it? I called you. I got a right to know. What is it?
It looks like bloodstains.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Tobacco has been one of man's basic pleasures for over 400 years. And the Chesterfields you smoke today are the best cigarettes ever made. When I say that, I mean Chesterfield regular, I mean Chesterfield king size. Remember, Chesterfield is the cigarette that is tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. The cigarette that gives you proof of highest quality. Yes, friends, the Chesterfields you smoke today are the best cigarettes ever made. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, change to Chesterfield. They satisfy millions.
We got a complete description of Jerry Kilgallen, and Frank called it into R&I. We found no record on him under that name. The purse was sent to Lieutenant Lee Jones at the crime lab, and after running a precipitate test, he told us that the stains were human blood. A stakeout was placed on the hotel, and that night, Kilgallen was taken into custody. Under interrogation, he admitted taking the purses from 2 women in a department store in downtown Los Angeles. He went on to explain that he'd just gotten into town and that he was broke and hungry. He gave us the date and the times of the thefts, and when we called the victims, they were able to give us positive identifications. He told us that when he'd taken the second purse, he'd cut his hand on the clasp, and that the bloodstains we found were his own. He was booked in at the main jail on the charge of suspicion of robbery. That night, Frank and I took up our place in the Dragnet operation. Nothing happened. The next night went by without activity. On Thursday night, at approximately 8:45, a woman was slugged and robbed after she left the bus on 71st Street just off Vermont. All cars in the operation converged on the area, and a block-by-block search was made. Additional officers were called in to aid in the hunt. Every alley, every street, and every backyard was gone over thoroughly. 11:15 p.m. While the search continued, Frank and I drove down to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital to talk to the latest victim.
I was on my way home. I didn't think anything like this would happen. I was just walking home.
Can you give us a description of the man?
I don't know. It was dark. I was just walking home and it happened.
Did you see the man at all?
Yes. It was dark.
Was he a tall man?
I guess so. I guess he was tall. I talked to the other men. Isn't that enough? I talked to them.
Well, we're trying to get all the information we can.
I don't remember good. My head hurts. Isn't there something they can do to make my head stop hurting?
Did you see the man's face? Did you get a look at it?
Yeah, yes, I did. I saw his face.
Can you describe it for us? Can you tell us what he looked like?
I don't know. I don't feel good.
Well, this is pretty important, ma'am.
He had a real white face. Real white.
What about his eyes? Can you tell us what color they were?
Blue. Watery. Blue.
How about his hair?
It looked brown. I'm not sure. I think it was brown. Yeah, I had on. I couldn't tell good.
All right, just a few more questions now.
Yeah.
Can you tell what color his hat was?
I don't know. My head hurts. Can't you do something?
We'll send for the doctor again. He might be able to give you another sedative.
Hurts.
There's something else, ma'am. Was the man clean shaven?
Huh?
I said, did he have a mustache?
No. No mustache.
Does he wear glasses?
No.
Is there anything else you can tell us about his appearance?
No. Nothing. He had a gun. I know that. He had a gun. That's what he hit me with. Gun. He hit me when I wouldn't give him the purse. First he asked me for the money. I told him to get out of my way. He said he'd kill me. Then he hit me on the head. Hit me as hard as he could.
All right, ma'am. Now, is there anything else you can tell us that might make it easier to identify him?
No, nothing. I told you everything I know. Nothing else.
All right, we're sorry to have bothered you. Thank you. We'll be talking with you again when you're feeling better.
Yeah. You come back then. I'll try to remember then.
Thank you very much for your help.
It's all right. You ask the doctor to come back, won't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Officer,
Yes, ma'am?
something else might help a little bit.
What's that, ma'am?
Before he hit me, I remember there was a fight. I didn't want him to take my purse. There was a fight.
Yeah.
I tried to stop him, and I scratched him. Scratched him hard. See, I broke a fingernail when I did it. That'll help, won't it?
Yes, ma'am.
It should. Last thing I remember before he hit me, he was bleeding a lot.
Where did you scratch him, ma'am? Do you remember? On the hand?
No, right across the face. Left side.
We got to a phone and we had a broadcast put out carrying the additional information on the man and the fact that he had been badly scratched. Officers in the immediate area of the attack started a check of all the drugstores that were open in the hope that the thief had stopped for medication. After getting the call out, Frank and I left the hospital and started back to search the area. 11:46 p.m.
You talked to the doctor about the victim?
Yeah, she's in pretty bad shape. They're going to move her to General. Sebastian says he might have to operate.
Be glad to get this guy.
Yeah.
Attention all units. Attention all units.
You want to turn it up, Joe?
All units on frequency 7, please stand by. All units in the vicinity of the 100 block on West 29th Street. Officer needs help. Special attention 1K80, code 3.
Lean on it. Right.
All units in the vicinity of the 100 block on West 29th Street. Officer needs help. Special attention 1K80, code 3. Frequency 7 clear.
I'll call in. 1K80 to Control 1. Acknowledging the call to the 100 block on West 29th Street. KMA 367. It took us 2.5 minutes to get to the location. At the curb on the side of the street, we saw a parked police unit. Standing next to it was a woman officer. We pulled up next to the unit and talked to her. She told us that our suspect had tried to attack her, and on the arrival of the two officers had fled the scene. At that moment, Officers Sluter and Murphy were in pursuit. While Frank got additional information from the policewoman, I went back to the car and got on the radio. 1K80 to Control 1. 1K80 to Control 1.
Control 1 to 1K80. Go ahead.
Suspect is now on foot being pursued by two plainclothes officers through backyards in the area of West 100 block between 29th Street and 30th Street. Dispatch units to block intersections of Broadway and 29th Street, Broadway and 30th, Broadway and 28th Street, Broadway and 27th, intersections of Main and 28th, Main and 29th, Main and 30th Streets, Main and 27th Street.
Control 1 to 1K80. Roger. KMA 367.
I got the story. You set?
Yeah, let's go.
Policewoman says they're headed west. This is the back of the house down there.
All right, let's move.
Attention all units. Attention all units. 1K80
Policewoman
report
said
for
suspect ducked into a driveway.
robbery
That one right up there.
All right, take it easy.
Right.
West 29th Street, now being pursued
Looks like we got a live one this time, huh?
Well, let's hope we can keep him.
in the backyard
All right, pull up here.
between 100 block 29th Street and 100 block West 30th Street. 1K82 on the intersection.
Flashlight's over there, Joe.
Let's take a look.
You see who it is?
No. Ducked back behind the garage. Come on. Sluter, what do you got?
He's back there. Murphy's with him.
You guys all right?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look.
You want to call an ambulance, Frank?
Right.
How is he? You better stop Frank.
Yeah.
Tell him to cancel that ambulance.
He opened up first, Joe. Murph and I gave him every chance.
Well, that's more than he gave those women.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 8th, an inquest was held in the offices of the coroner in and for the county of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that inquest.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Earlier, George Fenneman told you exactly why the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you. Now, the rest is up to you. Get a carton or two for yourself. Smoke them and you'll say as we do, it's Chesterfields for me.
At the inquest, the coroner's jury returned a verdict that the suspect, Kenneth Neal Stewart, died as a result of gunshot wounds inflicted by police officers in the line of duty. The death was listed as justifiable homicide. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Perrin, Vivi Janis, Herb Ellis. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter cigarette smokers, here is headline news. Nationwide demand for L&M filters drops price. Now you save up to 4 cents a pack, 40 cents a carton. Now everyone can afford America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette. Remember, only L&M's have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette at the new low price. L&M filters.
Hear Crime and Peter Chambers following John Cameron Swayze on the NBC Radio Network.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with Xylene, Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to India story of a man trapped in his bed by a crate, the most deadly, poisonous snake in the world, as Roald Dahl tells it in his terrifying story, Poison.
Listen, it's an awful good story, but to get the point, you got to understand about two things. What kind of a guy Harry Pope was and what kind of a snake the crate is. First, the crate. You spell it K-R-A-I-T. They're in India, the crates are. Little snakes, sometimes not more than 3 or 4 inches long. You have to look real careful if you're going to see one at all. Really almost like a worm. Except that it's the most poisonous snake in the world. It can bite faster than a bumblebee, and when it does, you go up like a firecracker, swell up like a hot water bottle, and in fly the angels. Crate. Tiny little snake. Now about Harry Pope. Funny guy. He had it in for anybody who wasn't American, who didn't speak his language. He called them foreigners. He called them that army word, gook. Didn't matter if they were French, Italian, or Japanese. Gook. Foreigner, he'd say. It's kind of buggy on the subject. Funny guy. Well, Harry and me, we got sent out to Bombay on this construction job, and that's where the trouble started. You see, except for the two of us, the crew was made up of local boys. Hindus and Muslims. 40 of them. Harry was like a cat in a room full of dogs. Had his back up every minute. After a month or so, it began to wear him out. Got so his appetite wasn't right. He was smoking 3 and 4 packs a day, and he wasn't getting his sleep. I used to try to straighten him out. Used to tell him he was wrong.
Now, Woody, there's no use talking.
Listen, Harry, they're all good boys. Why don't you take it easy?
Woody, you and I are good friends, but there are a lot of things you just don't understand.
You ought to take it easy, Harry. They're all human beings, just like you and me.
They're gooks, Woody. Foreigners. Look it. Think about it this way. How'd you like your sister to marry one of them?
I haven't got a sister, and anyway, you've asked me that before.
Yeah, you see? You won't even make the effort to understand.
Well, that's how it was with Harry, and you know about the crate. Now about what happened. It was June of last year. It was hot and sticky, even though the sun was down. I was putting on a clean shirt to go out.
Oh, man, I'm really beat tonight. What's with you, Woody? What's the clean shirt for?
Going out.
What do you got, a date?
No, I thought I'd stop off at Dr. Ganderby's. He promised he'd show me the photos he made down in the leper colony.
Ganderby?
Yeah. These photos are supposed to be pretty interesting stuff. Well, how about it, Harry? Would you like to come along?
Ganderby? He's a Hindu. A gook. Foreigner. I don't want to spend no evening with a gook. Shoot, not old Harry.
So I went off to the doctor's, and Harry went to bed with the detective story. I had a very interesting evening. Later, old Harry was plenty sorry that he stayed home. I didn't leave the doctor's until around midnight, and when I drove back to the sleeping city, it was very quiet and dark. I thought about the pictures of the lepers I'd seen. I remember thinking, I hope Harry's awake, because I'd like to tell him about those pictures. And when I got home, I was glad to see the light in his room was still burning.
Harry, you up?
I didn't get an answer. Probably fell asleep reading.
Harry, you awake, Harry?
Woody. Harry, boy, what's the matter, kid?
Stop, Woody. Take off your shoes.
I couldn't tell what was the matter, but I knew he was serious, whatever it was about, so I did what he wanted. He was in bed, under his netting, with a reading light on, his book on the floor. He lay quite still, and the sheet came halfway up his chest. He was wearing those corny pajamas of his with the big checks all over them. And the pajamas were soaked in the sweat that was rolling off his face. He lay like a corpse, flat on his back, with his hands lying dead on the bed. His hands, even the backs of them, were sweating. His eyes looked like he was watching somebody saw his leg off. Woody, what's the matter, boy?
It's a crate.
Crate? Where?
The man said.
Where? Where's the crate?
In here.
Under the netting?
No. Under the sheet.
Where'd it bite you?
It has it. Yes.
Where under the sheet?
Right on my belly.
Holy son.
You can wake it up if you don't cut out that belly.
How'd it get in there?
I don't know. Came up under the netting, I guess. Or it's been in the bed all day.
Is it a big one?
No. They don't have to be big. Looked about 3 or 4 inches. Come along my side. I didn't move. It went under the sheet. One of them folds. One of them wrinkles there over my belly.
How long ago did it come?
Hours. Hours and hours and days and weeks. Willie, I've been waiting a year for you to get home.
You must be sleeping here, huh?
Yeah. I think it is.
Why, now listen, Harry. Maybe it'll wake up and go away. Go home or something, huh?
I can't wait, Willie. I've been lying here scared I'd move something and wake it up.
Yeah, you're scared and it'll bite.
I've been lying here scared to death I'd cough.
All right, don't you worry about a thing, Harry. I know just what to do.
Where you going, Willie? Don't leave me.
The thing was to be ready to cauterize the bite right away. I'd heard about one method. I went out to the kitchen, and I got a whole fistful of those big kitchen matches, and I took them back to the bedroom. Arranged them all with their heads together. Held them like you'd hold a torch.
What are you going to do? What are the matches for?
Now listen, Harry, here's how it goes. These will cauterize, see? So we count 3, flip back the sheath, and you jump out of bed. Now you follow me?
You're out of your
No, listen, Harry. If the crate bites you, I strike the bundle and press it against the spot, and it burns out the poison, see? Well, the matches...
Get away from me. You're a bubble-headed maniac.
No, Harry, I'm only trying to...
Listen, Willie, take your matches and your bright ideas and get the heck out of here. Call the doctor.
The doctor? I never thought of that.
Now get to it.
Okay, Harry. Who do you want? Ganderby or Forsyth?
Forsyth. Things are bad enough without you. Got to bring that gook in here.
I dug through the telephone book and I found Dr. Maxon B. Forsyth's number and I dialed it.
This is the residence of the Dr. Maxon B. Forsyth, please.
Yeah, let me speak to the doctor. It's very urgent.
Who is calling, please?
Arthur Woods.
Who?
Woods. Arthur Woods.
Spell, please.
Woods. W.
W.
O.
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 You have already said O. I have already written O. Have the kindness to give me the next letter, please.
O. It's O after O.
Please?
Look, my name is Woods.
Spell, please.
W. O. O. D.
W. O. O. Aha!
D. S. Woods.
Wood. W. O. O. D. S. Mr. Wood.
That's right. That's just right now. Let me speak to the doctor, please.
Sorry. Doctor not in. Call tomorrow.
Across the room, Harry lay very still, sweating, trying to keep every muscle relaxed. His face was beginning to twitch a little. I was scared. If that twitch should spread... I called the doctor's house again.
Please, I do not understand.
Look, I said if you don't tell me where the doctor is, I'm going to come over there and pull your arms off, and then I'm going to take you by the neck.
The doctor is at the club, please.
What club?
The country club. Ring 673.
Harry lay very still, fighting the twitches, trying to keep from jumping out of his skin, while I waited for the bartender at the club to locate Dr. Forsyth. After about 5 minutes and nothing, I got this.
Are you there?
Listen, Doctor, you got to get over here right away. This is Arthur Woods, and my partner. He's got a snake in the bed with him. Doctor?
Would you mind repeating that, old boy?
I said snake. He's got a snake in the bed with him.
Snake? Oh, Johnny. I say, who is this? This is Captain Smart speaking.
Please, Doctor, you got to get over here right away. It's urgent.
Smart you can. You don't fool me. Not for an instant, you don't.
Please, Doctor.
Snake in bed.
Listen, is this Dr. Forsyth speaking?
Yeah, of course not. It's Colonel Harcourt.
Oh, well, let me speak to the doctor, please.
Oh, but you can't, old fellow.
Why not?
Why, he's jolly well past that, don't you know?
Passed out.
Like a mackerel. Snake in the...
Listen, Harry, you got to forget all this prejudice stuff. Ganderby's your only chance.
No, he's a gook.
He went to Oxford, Harry.
He's a gook.
It's him or the Undertaker.
He's a gook.
I'm going to call him, Harry.
All right. Go ahead, call him. But he's a gook.
I called him. And when I mentioned crate, he was quiet for a good 10 seconds, and then he said he'd be right over. And he was within 5 minutes. He was wearing felt slippers, and he moved silently into the bedroom. He was carrying his black satchel, and when I saw the lamplight glinting softly in his steel-rimmed spectacles, saw his wise, gentle eyes, his bald brown head, I thought to myself, why, he looks just like Mahatma Gandhi. He looked silently at Harry and smiled encouragingly. Harry looked at him, looked at me, and looked away.
Now, first we must very carefully remove the netting from about the bed. Mr. Pope, I want you to pay no attention to us. You are to concentrate on being very quiet, on letting the little snake sleep. It is a very little snake, and it is very tired. You must tell yourself this, and you must believe it is necessary for it to sleep.
Yeah.
Mr. Woods, help me lift the netting very slowly. Up. Good.
What are you going to do for me?
Think about the little snake.
What do you think I'm thinking about? What are you going to do for me?
The snake. It is here?
It's in one of those folds over his abdomen, Doctor.
Now we all know where it is.
Pretend you are the mother of the little snake. You are keeping it warm. It is sleeping. That is good.
Just so as it don't wake up and want breakfast.
You joke? That is good.
I wish I was back home in the good old USA.
Now then, what are you going to do, Doctor? I have a serum here. You will inject it into the blood of Mr. Pope. Then, as he puts it, the little snake may breakfast to his heart's content without harm to Mama.
His hands were brown and slender and astonishingly deft. He poked the hypodermic into a capsule of thick yellowish stuff, the serum, and then with infinite care he drew the plunger slowly and steadily upward. The glistening chamber filled. He withdrew the needle, laid the hypodermic down, and then with all the gentleness in the world, he began to fold back Harry's sleeve. It was as though he were folding rare old lace. He inched the sleeve carefully, under and up Harry's arm until the vein came into view.
I'm going to fasten a tourniquet on your arm now. It will be just above the elbow. Do not move your arm. Do not twitch your muscle.
Gently he tightened the rubber tourniquet, and Harry's arm began to flush dark. The vein began to swell, blue and tight. Harry kept his eyes on the ceiling.
Now I'm going to insert the needle in the vein. You must not react. By that I mean you must not change your abdominal muscles. Believe me, Mr. Pope, this will not hurt.
Very carefully he placed the syringe almost flat against the arm, slid the needle in sideways through the skin and into the blue vein, slid it slowly but so firmly that it went in smooth as a knife going into a cheese.
Doc, you're good, aren't you, Doc?
You must believe that.
You're going to let me die, are you, Doc?
I'm your friend. You must believe that.
Are you, Doc? You won't let me die?
No, I will not let you die. Now, be still and think about that.
With all the care in the world as he had pushed the needle into the vein, now he pressed the plunger down, pressed the serum through the needle and into Harry Pope's body. I watched Harry. His eyes were on the wise, gentle face of Dr. Ganderby. His eyes wanted desperately to believe what Ganderby had told him. Now the hypodermic was empty, and slowly it was withdrawn. And then slowly the deft, graceful little hands loosened the rubber tourniquet. And then Ganderby looked up, met Harry's eyes and smiled. Harry tried to smile back, but the smile jumped and twitched and died.
You're taking care of me, huh, Doc?
Yes, my son. Now you must be still while the serum is pumped through your body. Be very still and be very assured. I'm your friend. The serum will save you. You will escape harm.
He beckoned to me, and I followed him out of the room and out onto the dark porch. The air was heavy and hot. Ganderby stared out at the blackness, drummed his fingers softly on the railing.
Your friend is in grave danger.
Yeah, but the serum. You gave him the serum.
I gave him the serum.
It isn't any good.
It is the finest known to medical science, and it is worthless.
To most of us, science is something strange and mysterious. We think of magic medicines and supersonic planes. But here's a scientific achievement that's as real as your car and as near as your Richfield dealer. It's xylene, one of the highest anomac gasoline components ever discovered by scientific research. And xylene can benefit you today, because every gallon of Richfield gasoline now contains xylene. Xylene to give your car that smooth, knockless power that eats up the miles. Xylene for that swift, eager response you need in traffic. Furthermore, there's a Richfield gasoline to fit your motor. Your Richfield dealer offers 2 great Richfield gasolines, both with xylene. Get Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Or Richfield Ethyl. Ethyl at its best for top results in highest compression motors. Get Richfield gasoline tomorrow. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle under cream and blue pumps. And now we return you to Escape.
So there it was. Harry Pope, the man who had been an enemy of anyone and everyone who didn't come from his country or speak his language, was now halfway through death's door. And his only hope lay in a Dr. Ganderby of another race, another creed, another country, and another color. Now, for the first time in his life, Harry had made a gesture of friendship toward a person of another race. First time. And it seemed to me the last.
No, my friend. The serum is worthless.
What can we do then? The snake is bound to wake sooner or later. Harry will move. He won't be able to help himself, and the snake will strike.
We must think.
Look, I'll shoot it. I can hold the gun low and flat so that even if I hit Harry, it won't be a penetrating wound, and I'll blow the snake sheet and all, clear the bed, huh?
But you don't even know which of the many folds and creases in that sheet is the harbor of the snake.
Yeah.
You might shoot the air.
Yeah.
You would most certainly wake the snake then.
No, we can't do that.
I think I have a solution, Mr. Woods.
Yeah?
We will anesthetize the snake. Yes. We will use nitrous oxide, or ether, or chloroform. I think the last. Chloroform, yes.
We put the snake out right while he's lying on Harry? Is that the idea?
That is it, Mr. Woods. Now, if you will please drive quickly down to my house, my boy will show you where I keep my supplies. The chloroform is in a bottle with an orange label.
Orange label?
Yes. Bring it back as quickly as you can. I will stay with Mr. Pope and try to keep him assured.
He seems to like you.
We all like the doctor when we are sick.
I drove it as fast as I could. The houseboy at the doctor's thought I was a madman at first, but then he decided in my favor, showed me where the stuff was. I found the bottle with the orange label, smelled it to make sure, and then took off back to the house. I eased the car up the driveway and tiptoed into the bedroom.
You're my friend, Doctor? My pal?
Yes, I'm your friend, and I'm not going to let any harm come to you.
Well, here's Willie. He's my friend, too, Doc.
Here's the stuff, Doctor.
Willie, I've been an awful dope all my life. You know that, Willie?
It's okay, Harry. You're going to be okay from now on.
The Doc here, my friend here, I didn't like him when he first came into the room. Why? Because he wasn't an American or even an Englishman. What do you know about that, huh? He's my friend.
It's okay, Harry. You're going to be okay now, boy.
I've been a player's dope.
Mr. Woods, you have to help me.
Right. He pulled a prescription pad out of his case, tore the cardboard backing off, and twisted it into a neat little funnel. He laid this on the edge of the bed. And then he took the piece of hollow rubber tubing which had been used as a tourniquet, and he began to slide it into the sheet. It went in where the sheet ended, across Harry's chest, and he slid it down. He slid it slowly, so slowly that although I was watching it, I didn't see it move. Hours seemed to crawl by. The tube instant visibly on and down, past the unseen buttons of his jacket, past the unseen cord of his trousers. Then it stopped. Ganderby had sent it by a route which did not cross any of the creases in the sheet. He was being very careful not to prod the snake with it. He was sweating too now, sweating and biting his lip with his teeth. Funny, I remember now, one was gold. I remember staring at it while he etched that tube.
Now the funnel. I fit it into the end of the tube and we are ready. Mr. Pope, this is going to be very cold. The evaporation of the chloroform will cause a sharp lowering of the temperature. You must be prepared for this. It will take rather a long time, another factor for which you must prepare yourself. The snake is a reptile, and reptiles do not react quickly to the anesthetics which are intended for the use of warm-blooded animals. Bear these things in mind. Are you ready?
Sure, friend.
remembered other places and other times. Hospitals, operations, the death of loved ones, smell of chloroform. Harry began to twitch now. His nose seemed to be in agony.
Woody.
Harry, what is it?
I think I'm gonna sneeze.
Don't do it, boy. Hang on, Harry. You gotta hang on. Don't. Ganderby looked at Harry's face. He reached up, pressed his knuckle against some nerve on Harry's upper lip, and the agonized look vanished. The relentless gripping of the chloroform continued. Harry was getting cold. I could see goose flesh along his arms, across the top of his chest where the jacket was open. Ganderby looked at this and stopped pouring.
This is enough. I think our little friend should be thoroughly unconscious now. Mr. Pope, you must remain very still. We are going to remove the sheet now.
Anything you say, Doctor.
Mr. Woods, you take the other side. You will have to do this ever so carefully.
We each took a side of the hem. I watched Ganderby and did everything that he did. Harry's arms were still flat on the bed, pointing toward his feet. We inched the sheet under and free of these. It was rough, because we had to do it without disturbing the main area of the sheet. When it was free of his arms, we began to raise it slowly, gathering the material in our hands as we progressed ever so slowly down Harry's chest. We reached the end of his jacket. No sign of the snake. My hands were beginning to shake. Ganderby paused while I turned my head away for air. The odor of chloroform was stifling. And then we went on, slowly, thread by thread, raising the sheet and easing it away, down past the cord of his pajamas, and down, and still no sign of the snake. I'd stopped looking for it by now. I was concentrating on keeping my arms from shaking. And then, quite suddenly, we were done. Ganderby dropped the sheet on the floor. Harry lay on his back, not moving, but watching us with wide, terrorized eyes. Ganderby squinted at both sides of Harry, at his legs.
What is it?
It is not as you suppose on the outside of your pajama pants. It must be up one of the legs.
Harry, no! I don't see it.
Kissler's tattered of cloth, the remains of his pants.
No, nothing.
The bed. Under the bed?
Yeah. Move your feet, Harry. Harry, move your feet. No, there's nothing.
Mr. Pope, are you quite certain you saw a snake? Sometimes when we are very tired, we find our autosuggestive faculties run a bit out of hand.
Are you calling me a liar?
Well, no. I merely say that the autosuggestive...
Are you telling me I'm a liar?
Harry.
Why, you lousy little quack. Call me a liar. You stinking little Hindu witch doctor with your fancy pants, Tom.
Harry!
Come in here sticking me full of your cheap, no good medicine.
Harry, go!
Pour that freezing cold up all over
Harry,
me.
take it easy. Harry's your friend.
My friend? That little hunk of foreign trash, my friend. Why, where I come from, where you guys live, khaki like him for busboys.
You make a mistake. You are wrong.
Yeah, for busboys, for waiters, for nothing. You're a foreigner. You're a gook. You're a nothing. Well, I ought to beat you to a bloody pulp. You and your chloroform. You and your stuff about friendship and Mama Snake. And I must make out like I like you. I ought to split your head wide open, you gook! You gook! You gook! You gook!
Please, Doctor, forgive him. He's been under a great strain. He doesn't mean it.
A great strain, yes. He needs a good holiday. Good night, Mr. Woods.
That's all. I couldn't tell this if old Harry was still alive. Poor old Harry. He didn't die in India. He died in Chicago, in the Loop. Got run over by a taxi cab. The driver was third-generation Irish, a real 100% white American. Maybe that means something, I don't know. Poor old Harry.
Believe it or not, but the very life of your car depends on oil. Without oil, your motor would grind itself to pieces in a matter of minutes. That's why you need an oil that stands up under every driving condition. That's why you need Rich Lube all-weather motor oil. Rich Lube is refined 100% from the finest Pennsylvania crude oil ever discovered. That's your guarantee that Rich Lube won't burn up even under the terrific heat of hard summer driving. Its tough, long-lasting oil film is your faithful watchdog. It protects your motor every mile you drive. You can depend on it. Moreover, Rich Lube motor oil combats carbon and other harmful deposits by its special cleansing action. It cleans as it lubricates your motor. Keep your motor young, keep your motor clean. See your Richfield gasoline dealer tomorrow. Ask him to change your oil to Rich Lube all-weather motor oil. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight is presented Poison by Roald Dahl and adapted for radio by James Poe. Featured in tonight's cast were Jack Webb as Woody, Bill Conrad as Harry, Jane Novello as Gandabai, and Charlie Long as the houseboy. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are lost in the headhunter territory of New Guinea, fighting your way through the swamps in search of gold. With you is a giant brute of a man and his beautiful wife, who doesn't care which of you is killed or who kills him, and from whose evil treachery there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with an exciting story of evil and violence in the deadly swamps of New Guinea, as Jules Archer tells it in Two Came Back. Goodbye then until the same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Forgery Division, shoplifting detail. An organized gang of thieves has started operating in your city. In spite of the precautions taken, the thieves are still working. Your job? Stop them. Today's Chesterfield is the best cigarette ever made. It's the cigarette tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. The cigarette proved highest in quality, low in nicotine, best for you. Chesterfield gives you the taste you want, the mildness you want, a really refreshing smoke every time. It all adds up to Chesterfield's world-famous slogan, they satisfy. Buy Chesterfield today, regular or king size. Just light up, relax, and enjoy America's most popular two-way cigarette. Chesterfield. They satisfy millions.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, September 20th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Forgery Division, shoplift detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief Detective Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 9:45 a.m. when we got to the 8th floor of the Whitfield department store. Security office.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
We'd like to see Mr. Dunlop. I believe he's expecting you.
Your name?
Joe Friday.
Oh, yes. You want to go right in?
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
This door here?
Yes, go right in.
Come on in.
Hi, Jerry. You know Frank, don't you?
Sure, how's it going?
Hi, Jerry.
You boys want to sit down?
Thank you.
I'll have the girls sent up.
Okay.
Yes, sir?
You want to have Miss Evans sent up, please?
Miss Evans, yes, sir.
I'd like to ask you guys a favor.
What's that, Jerry?
Poor kid thinks this whole thing is her fault. I'd appreciate it if you could take it easy on her.
Well, we'll do our best.
Sure.
What'd they get away with this time?
Oh, here's a list.
Thank you.
Here's a copy for you, Frank.
Oh, thanks. You got any idea when they were in?
It's hard to tell for sure. We're open Friday night, and then Saturday's a pretty rough day. It wasn't until after closing we found it. I figured they either moved in late Friday night or early Saturday morning.
Miss Evans' girl discovered the theft, did she?
No, she didn't know anything about it. The stock clerk found it. He was running through the inventory to replace the coats and suits. Noticed there were several that couldn't be accounted for. He called me.
Mm-hmm.
Evans' girl's in the department. I talked to her this morning. It looks like she waited on the pair.
She able to come up with any kind of description?
Yeah, I think she'll be able to help us. Oh, excuse me. Yes?
Miss Evans is here.
Oh, send her in, please.
Yes, sir.
Come in.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Dunlap?
Yes, would you come in, please?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Miss Evans, this is Sergeant Friday and Officer Smith. They're from the police department.
How do you do, miss?
Hello. I don't know why you want to see me, Mr. Dunlap. I told you I didn't know anything about them. I told you. You've got to believe me. I didn't have anything to do with them. I never saw them before.
Now, you just sit down, Miss Evans.
Thank you.
Now, the officers are here to just talk to you. They want to ask you a couple of questions. There's nothing wrong.
You mean I'm not going to lose my job?
No.
Really? You're not going to fire me?
We never even considered it.
I don't know how to thank you. My first job, and to have a thing like this happen. I sure appreciate it. Anything you want to know, I'll tell you. You just ask, I'll tell you.
All right, Miss Evans. Have you any idea who might have stolen the merchandise?
Well, didn't you tell them what I said, Mr. Dunlap?
Well, I thought it would be better if they heard it from you.
Oh, I see. Well, I think I know who they were. I've tried to remember all the people I waited on, everyone. There's only two that stand out, like they were different.
How do you mean different, miss?
Well, they didn't seem like the other customers. You know, like they really wanted to buy something.
Yeah.
They just wanted to look around. I could tell they didn't really want to take anything with them. We had a course on that in school, how to tell if a customer really wanted to buy.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the class problems, to sell a customer who didn't really want to buy anything.
Yes, ma'am. About these people, what was it they did that makes you think they might have been the shoplifters?
Well, first, the way they talked. I was trying to wait on other people at the same time, and they kept me showing them all kinds of things. It took me almost a half an hour to clean up after they left.
There were two people, is that right?
Yeah, a man and a woman.
Can you give us a description of them?
I told Mr. Dunlap all about it. You want me to go over it again?
I've got it, Joe. I'm having it typed for you now.
All right, fine.
You want me to tell it again?
Well, we'll check it with you, yes, ma'am.
What kind of things these people want to see, man?
Oh, just about everything at the counter. They had me so mixed up I didn't know what to do. I told you I was trying to wait on another customer. A woman who wanted to buy a suit, I kept trying to take care of her. She finally left. These two were causing so much trouble. Every time I left them, I couldn't even take care of the woman. She got mad and left. I don't really blame her. You know, Mr. Dunlap, there really should be more people up there. Only 3 girls, and when we get busy, there just aren't enough to go around. Lots of customers walk out.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what we can do.
Lots of times they walk out without buying something because there isn't anybody to help them.
Mm-hmm.
This woman who walked out, could you describe her for us?
Oh, you bet. She was real nice. Had a lot of patience. Kept waiting for me to go back and take care of the troublemakers. Never said a word.
Well, can you tell us what she looked like?
Well, I'd say she's about 35. It's hard to say for sure. She took real good care of herself. You know, hair all nice and good makeup. Not cheap like. Nice hands and a manicure.
Was she carrying any packages when she came in? Do you remember?
Gee, I gotta think about that. I don't think so. Oh, you know, a couple of paper bags like from the notions department. Maybe face cream or cologne, things like that.
No large boxes?
No. I don't see why you're so interested in her. The other two were the ones who caused the trouble. They're the ones who must have taken things. Why are you asking about the lady?
How was she dressed, do you remember?
Oh, just beautifully. Had on a gray suit with large lapels. Kind of peplum that came out like this. Rhinestone buttons, beautifully good taste.
She wearing a coat?
Mm-hmm. Long. Had a stand-up collar, real full skirt, tight bodice.
Where was she looking at the suits?
Over by the counter. She'd hold them up, you know, in front of the mirror. She knew what she wanted, looked at the material, the way they were made. She'd have bought if I could have spent a little time with her. She liked the merchandise, liked everything I showed her.
Mm-hmm. How many things did you take off the racks for?
I guess she looked at a dozen styles. You know, a dozen real high-style suits. That seemed to be all she was interested in. You don't think she had anything to do with the stealing, though, do you?
Well, looks like she was the one who did the actual taking of the merchandise. The other two were there to keep you busy.
I can't believe that. She was so nice. Never seemed to get upset. Even when I couldn't spend more time with her. Real nice. Didn't get upset at all when she couldn't find what she wanted.
I'm afraid you're wrong there. She found it. We continued to interrogate the witness. We got complete descriptions of the trio. Their physical appearance and their method of operation matched those of the gang Frank and I had been looking for the past 6 weeks. Alice Evans was shown mug shots of known shoplifters, but she was not able to give us an identification.
We made arrangements for her to come down to the office and check additional mug files. The average citizen looks at shoplifting as a petty nuisance, which businessmen are expected to endure. It's not entirely true. Shoplifting is big business. Last year, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise was stolen from stores in the Los Angeles area alone. Most of the goods stolen by organized gangs is sold to fences for final disposal. During the course of our investigation, we've been working with Stores Protective Association, incorporating all of the security officers in the larger businesses. MO bulletins had been gotten out on the gang's activities. From what we've been able to find out, there were 3 people working as a unit, 2 women and a man. The 3 suspects would enter a store and split up. One of the women would pretend to be looking at merchandise, while the other 2 suspects would engage the clerk in conversation, in that way keeping her away from the first member of the trio. The articles stolen were almost always either coats or suits, and we noticed that one line of merchandise seemed to attract the criminals more than others. Monday, 3:46 p.m. Frank and I went down to a second-hand clothing store on 5th Street to talk to the owner.
Be right with you.
Toby?
Yeah. Hi, fellas. What's going on?
Oh, we got some things we want to talk to you about, Toby.
Sure, just having a cup of coffee in the back. Come on, I'll pour you a cup.
Fine, thank you. In here?
Yeah, sit down. Get you some java.
Thanks.
Anything special?
No, we're just fishing, Toby. Thought you might be able to come up with a little something for us, maybe.
And here you go. Either of you want sugar?
No.
Oh, thanks. Don't use it.
Just doing part of your work here.
Is that right?
Yeah, buy sheets. Want to get in the mail tonight.
Well, we don't want to keep you, Toby.
Yeah, no trouble, Sergeant. Mac's getting a little tired anyway. Just soon stop and have a cigarette.
How's business? Pretty good?
I'm keeping up. Now, what can I do for you?
You got anything on a boosting gang working around?
Nothing more than usual. Why?
Well, we got a bunch that's giving us a little trouble. We're trying to come up with something that'll hang together on them.
2 men and a woman?
Yeah. You got anything on him?
Oh, nothing worth repeating. Rumbled around about the 3 of them. That's about it. If I had any more, I'd have called you sooner.
Where's the information coming from?
Well, you know how it is, Sergeant. You hear something here, something else there. You put them together. You come up with a story, but no way to trace it.
Yeah, I know. You got any idea where the stuff is being sold?
Same answer. Rumble's got it that all the loot's being shipped out of town. Some to back east, some goes up north. I got a piece the other day that some of it's going to Mexico.
Mexico, huh?
Yeah. Most of it's ending up in the east, though.
You know any reason they'd be hitting one brand more than the others?
Got a word. That's about all.
What's that?
The gang's laying it out around town that they'll pay up to $25 for a suit. You know, the going price is around $5, maybe $6.50.
Mm-hmm.
Figures that if you can do better with one line, that's what you're going to boost.
Huh. Why's the price gone up?
Yeah, the only way I can figure it is that they're worth more on the market.
Anybody approached you?
Nah, if they have, you'd have been called right away. You know that.
Yeah.
You got any idea where we might be able to pick up anything on the trio?
Not right out, but I'll tell you one thing.
What's that?
The way I got it, there's 4 of them.
Yeah?
2 men, 2 women. A man's a gun. He sets up the deals, makes a shipment.
How are they getting the stuff out, Toby? Do you know?
Pick up a kid and offer him a trip. Ask him to deliver a suitcase. Works out good for him. Carrier doesn't know who he's working for. Can't lead the cops back to the operation.
Mm-hmm.
About the only way I can figure it. You say none of the stolen stuff showing up down here?
Nothing so far.
Well, thanks a lot, Toby. If you hear anything, we'd sure appreciate a call.
Sure thing.
Real good coffee, Toby.
Instant. I make it in the percolator.
Well, you mean that powdered stuff? You don't have to make that in the coffee pot.
Habit, I guess.
Well, thanks again. We won't keep you, Toby.
Oh, hang on a minute.
All right.
Yes, sir? What can I do for you?
Buy used clothes?
Yes, sir. What have you got to sell?
That's in the car. I just want to be sure you're buying stuff.
Well, bring it in. We'll take a look at it.
Okay, Toby, we'll see you later, huh?
Right, Sergeant. Give me a call.
Right.
I'll be right back.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think of that, Sergeant? Sure in a hurry, isn't he?
Yeah, let's see why. Come on. You see him?
Yeah. Right up there.
Hey, hold it up there.
Huh? What do you want?
What's the matter? Didn't you hear me? I asked you to wait back there.
Well, sure, I heard you. I didn't know you were talking to me. What do you want?
Police officer. You want to step over to the car? I want to ask you a couple questions.
Well, I haven't done anything.
You didn't say you did.
Well, why do you want to talk to me? What do you want me to come
Come on, let's go.
All right. I'm making a mistake. I haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
Got the wrong man. You got no reason to talk to me.
All right. Get in. All right, sit still.
What are you doing? You won't find anything. I don't know what you guys are after. I haven't done anything.
Take your wallet out.
Why?
Take it out.
Here.
Take the money out of it. You always carry that much money, do you?
No, not always.
I know. You keep the money in your hand. Give me the wallet.
Here you are.
This your true name? Kenneth Elgin Norris. This your right name?
Yeah.
You live here now, do you?
No, not now.
Where do you live?
I got a room over on 7th.
You want me to run a make on it?
Yeah, will you? Here. Here's his ID.
Thanks. 1K80 to Control 1. 1K80 to Control 1.
Control 1 to 1K80. Go ahead.
Check for 1. Kenneth Elgin Norris. That's Norris. Male white American. 26 years. 5 feet 10 3/4. 168 pounds. Black hair, brown eyes. KMA 367.
1K80, Roger. Stand by.
What's all that about?
Checking to see if you're wanted any place.
Oh.
You ever been in trouble?
You mean with the cops?
That's right.
No, never.
Why'd you leave the clothing store in such a hurry?
I remembered I had to meet a guy. I remembered I was late.
Who's the guy?
A friend of mine. You wouldn't know.
Well, try us.
It's a guy named Arthur. I don't know his last name.
Where were you going to meet him?
A bar down the street.
What about the clothes you wanted to sell?
What about it?
Where are they?
I don't know.
Well, you went in to sell something that you didn't have. Is that it?
Well, I was going to pick him up from Arthur.
And you don't know his last name?
No.
How come you were going to sell the clothes?
Huh?
Why were you going to sell the clothes?
Well, that's a silly question. Why does anybody sell anything? Because I needed the money.
You look like you're sitting pretty good.
Well, I got to leave town. I'm selling all my stuff.
I thought Sid the clothes belonged to this Arthur guy.
Well, they do, but I'm going to sell them for him. He said he'd give me a piece of the profit.
Why doesn't he sell them himself?
Well, I don't know. You better ask him.
We'll try to. Now get the rest of the stuff out of your pocket. Come on, everything.
You guys are making a big mistake. You know that, don't you? A real big mistake.
Well, if we're wrong, we'll tell you.
Yeah. Here it is. Comb, change, cigarettes, and a lighter. That's all there is.
You sure?
Well, why would I lie?
Turn your pockets inside out.
What?
Turn them inside out.
All right.
All of them. The other one, too.
Told you I gave everything I had. There isn't anything else.
Oh. What's that?
Huh?
Move your foot. What's this?
Looks like a key.
What's it for?
Well, I don't know. It isn't mine.
Well, maybe it belongs to Arthur.
It could be. It isn't mine.
Looks like a check locker key, doesn't it?
It might be. I never saw it before.
Came out of your pocket, didn't it?
No, it didn't. Must have been on the floor all the time. It isn't mine.
1K80, your suspect has a felony record including burglary and is now wanted for parole violation.
1K80, Roger. KMA 367. Thought you said you'd never been in trouble.
I made a mistake.
Looks like you made more than one, doesn't it?
What?
Maybe you were wrong about the locker key.
I told you. I never saw it before.
Oh, sure. You want to sit with him, Frank?
Yeah.
I'll get to a phone.
Right.
It's just a key. What does that prove?
I don't know. Let's find out what it opens. We got the location of the locker, and with the suspect, Frank and I drove over and removed a large black suitcase. The locks on the case had been broken, and inside we found 11 women's suits of the same type that had been stolen from the Los Angeles stores. All identifying labels had been removed, but we were able to find the tag issued by the National Recovery Board inside the seams of the suits. We got in touch with their Los Angeles office, and they told us that the serial number had been issued to a San Francisco company. On the way back to the city hall, we stopped and searched the suspect's room thoroughly, but we found nothing. When we got to the squad room, Frank went to the business office to arrange a phone call to San Francisco, and I took the suspect to the interrogation room. 6:20 p.m.
You guys got to believe me. That stuff's not mine. I don't know where it came from.
Where'd you get the key?
Well, it's not mine. I never saw it before.
That's kind of hard to buy.
Well, I don't care if you want it or not. That's the way it is.
Tell us a little more about this Arthur, will you?
I told you everything I know.
Where'd you meet him?
In a bar down on Main. I told you that before. Now, what's the matter? Don't you believe me?
You're making it tough to believe.
I'm telling you the truth.
Where'd the suits come from?
I don't know.
All right, here. Take another look at them. Might help you remember, huh?
They were in the suitcase when Arthur gave them to me. That's all I know.
Where'd he get them?
I don't know.
Did he steal them?
Well, I don't know.
Why'd he give them to you?
He just said he wanted me to take care
You
of
told
them.
us before he wanted you to sell them, didn't you?
Well, he did.
Where were you going to make the payoff after they were sold?
He said he'd get in touch with
Where?
me. Around. He said he'd find me.
He gave you over $500 worth of suits, and he said he'd get in touch with you, huh?
That's right.
When?
Sometime.
He didn't name a date?
No, he just said he'd look me up.
How many times have you been arrested?
You got the record. Why asking me?
We want you to tell us.
I don't know. I forget.
We'll take a guess.
Oh, a few times.
5?
You got the record.
When's the last time you checked with your parole officer?
I forget.
You know your package's tabbed?
No, I didn't know until I heard it on the radio.
You had no idea, huh?
No.
You went up for burglary, is that right?
Yeah, they set me up to the joint.
You know you're going back, don't you?
Yeah, I guess.
It's not going to look good to have another charge marked on you.
What do you mean?
Burglary.
How'd you dig that one up?
These suits, if you can't explain them, it isn't going to look too good, is it?
Look, I told you Arthur gave them to me.
And he said he'd get in touch with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure.
Come up with the answers yet?
Says he doesn't know them.
Yeah? Maybe we can help. Just got through talking with a George Ryder up north.
Yeah.
He checked the records. Code numbers from a shipment to the Whitfield department store. Looks like the bunch we're after.
Now, who's Arthur?
You mean the suits were stolen?
You called it. Who's Arthur?
Look, I don't want to go back to the joint on a beef like this.
We don't decide that.
But if I help you guys, you'll take care of me. You'll talk to my parole officer.
Can't make any deals with you.
Yeah, but I don't want to fall this way.
That's up to you, mister. You're sitting in the middle. Now, which way do you want to go?
Nobody can help you but yourself.
Miss Arthur must be a fine friend, leaving you with a bunch of stolen merchandise.
Might be the way he figured it. What's the matter? Doesn't Arthur like you?
Okay, I'll go the route.
No.
I'll tell you where to find him.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
You hear it everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. Here's how lovely New York model and television star Roxanne puts it.
I started smoking Chesterfields about the time I got into show business. Yes, it's Chesterfields for me. I like the regular size.
Now let's hear from the man who owns and runs the Stork Club, Sherman Billingsley.
You know, it's my privilege to be a host to over 4,000 very nice people every day, and most all of them smoke Chesterfield. As a matter of fact, our records show that Chesterfield is our largest seller, 3-1. And it's Chesterfield for me. I like them king size.
Either way you like them. Chesterfield regular, Chesterfield king size. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, a really refreshing smoke every time. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
We called a stenographer, and Kenneth Norris gave us a complete statement. He said that he'd been approached by a man that he knew only as Arthur and asked to carry a suitcase to St. Louis. Once there, a man would have him paged at the airport and take the valise from him. In return for this service, the suspect was to be paid $100 and his expenses. Norris explained that he decided he could do better by selling the contents of the suitcase himself. This information was forwarded to the St. Louis Police Department. We got a complete description of the man he knew as Arthur and had the suspect check through the mug books, but he was unable to make an identification. We got in touch with his parole officer and told him that we had Norris in custody. We asked that we be allowed to detain him for a few days. The following morning, we met with Chief Detectives Thad Brown and Captain Welsh. It was decided that Norris would take us to the bar where he'd met the thief and he'd point him out. Norris would then be brought back to the main jail and booked, and I would try to establish myself with this Arthur. In that way, we'd have a better chance of building a case that we could take to court and apprehending the entire shoplifting gang. On Wednesday morning, September 22nd, Norris, Frank, and I drove over to Main Street. We checked the bar, but the suspect wasn't there. We waited in our car, which was parked down the street. Arthur failed to arrive. He didn't show up at the bar on Thursday or Friday. Saturday, 12:40 p.m. Norris pointed down the street.
That's him just going in the place.
Fellow in the gray suit there?
Yeah, that's him.
You sure?
I got no reason to lie, have I?
All right, Frank.
Yeah.
You want to take Norris back to the office? I'll go on in.
Okay. I'll be right back.
All right.
Sergeant?
Yeah.
I'll give you something for free.
Yeah, what's that?
Take it easy with Arthur. Don't press.
How do you mean that?
He's a pretty rough guy.
That's so?
Yeah, I hear he carries a gun. Be a lot of trouble if he's got it with him.
Not unless he tries to use it. I left Frank at the curb and walked into the bar. I saw the man that we knew as Arthur sitting at the rear of the place. I took a seat near the front door and ordered a cup of coffee. In a few minutes, I walked back toward Arthur.
Something you want?
Yeah, I wondered if I could have one of your cigarettes there.
There's a machine up front.
Well, if I had the price, I'd have bought a pack coming in.
All right. Here.
Got a match?
How you fixed for breath?
Look, I just asked you for a cigarette. If you don't want to give me one, say so and I'll shove off.
Never mind. Here's your match.
Thank you.
Hey, you.
Yeah.
You're broke, huh?
All the way.
Just got in town?
This morning.
Where from?
Up north.
Narrow it down.
Look, mister, here's your cigarette bag. Give me one of these doesn't tell you to my life story.
You hungry?
I haven't eaten for 2 days.
Here.
Thanks. Appreciate this.
How long are you going to be in town?
Well, it depends on how things work out.
You got a job?
Well, I'm going to look.
What do you do?
Whatever pays.
Tell you what.
Huh?
I got some friends around town. Might be able to use you. Check with me in a couple of days. Might be able to do something for you.
How do I get in touch with you?
Meet me here. I tag the place a couple times a week. Just ask if Arthur's around.
That's your name?
That's what I'm using this season. You look me up, kid. We'll work something out.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. I sat and talked to Arthur for another half hour. During that time, he wouldn't tell me his last name, and I had no way of finding out anything more about him. At 12:10, I saw Frank drive by the front door. That was the signal that the crew of detectives were standing by to follow the suspect. I left the bar and walked down Main Street up to 7th. Frank was waiting for me.
We drove back to the city hall and discussed what had happened with Chief Brown and Captain Welch. During the next 3 days, Arthur was kept under constant surveillance. He didn't drive an automobile. He contacted no one. We were able to learn a considerable amount about the man. Although he didn't try to make contact with any other members of the gang, it was obvious that he was the prime fence and that he was directing the operation. Wednesday afternoon, I walked into the bar on Main Street. Arthur wasn't there, but the bartender said that he was expecting him. I waited. At 6:47 p.m., the suspect entered the place. He took a seat at the rear of the bar and motioned me back. Hi, I've been looking for you.
You're right.
Yeah. Wonder if you've been able to come up with that job you were talking about. I could sure use a touch.
You like to travel?
What?
I think I might have something for you. You got to go out of town, though.
For dough?
I wouldn't ask you any other way.
Well, what do I have to do?
A friend of mine has a suitcase he wants delivered to a party in Chicago.
Why didn't he send it by mail?
Doesn't want it to go that way. He wants it delivered personally.
Well, what's it pay?
All your expenses and $100.
What's in the suitcase?
That isn't any of your business.
Well, what happens if I get picked up? I don't know I'm not carrying anything hot.
You got to take my word for it, Gene.
All right. Who do I deliver the suitcase to?
I'll meet you in the morning. I'll give you the bag then. You catch the 10 o'clock plane. When you land at Chicago, go to the coffee shop. You'll be paged. Meet the man and give him the suitcase.
Well, how do I know if it's the right guy?
We'll give you the name. He's the only one who knows what the name is and when you're coming in.
All right. Where do I meet you?
Be out in front of this place at 8 in the morning. I'll pick you up.
Just one more thing. How about the money?
You won't need any going back. When you turn over the suitcase to my friend, he'll give you the 100. You already have your ticket.
All right. Sounds okay. Not as permanent as I'd like.
If you carry this off, we'll be able to do more business.
Well, I'll meet you here then at 8 in the morning. Is that right?
Right. Be on time. I don't want you to miss that plane. A lot depends on this deal. I don't want anything to go wrong.
No, don't worry.
What?
Neither do I. I left the bar and met Frank. We stood by the front of the place, and at 9:56 p.m., the suspect came out. He called a cab, and we followed him. He went out to the apartment where we knew he lived. Frank and I waited out front. At 11:20, a car pulled up in front of the place, and 3 people got out. They matched the description of the thieves in our shoplifting operation. They were carrying a large suitcase. We waited for 10 minutes, and then Frank and I went up to Arthur's apartment.
Number 408, huh?
Down this way. I get the door.
Wait a minute.
All right.
Yeah.
Who is it? A minute. What are you doing here?
What's this all about, Art? Police officers, you're under arrest.
Stand still.
Cop, a lousy cop. Should have known. I thought I could trust you. I thought you were honest.
Yeah, you sure pick him, a cop for a messenger boy. You're real smart.
I thought I could depend on him. I thought he was honest.
You don't know what the word means.
How about it, mister?
Huh?
Do you?
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 18th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. You know, the Chesterfield you smoked today is the best cigarette ever made, and best for you. Now, that's a fact. And to my way of thinking, it's the very reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Try them either way, regular or king size. If you try them, I think you'll say with all of us, Chesterfield's for me.
Arthur Nelson Thompson, Samuel Donald Hickok, Georgia Baxter Nielsen, and Dorothy Marie Simpson were tried and convicted of burglary in the second degree, 14 counts. They received sentence as prescribed by law. Burglary in the second degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period not less than 1 nor more than 15 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank the editors of Cosmopolitan magazine for this month's pictorial feature on Jack Webb and Dragnet. Cosmopolitan, the May issue, on your newsstands tomorrow.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Jack Crucian, Alice Bacchus, Ralph Moody, Herb Ellis. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter cigarette smokers, here is headline news. Nationwide demand for L&M filters drops price. Now you save up to 4 cents a pack, 40 cents a carton. Now everyone can afford America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette. Remember, only L&M's have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette at the new low price. L&M filters.
Hear Crime and Peter Chambers following John Cameron Swayze on the NBC Radio Network.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Sunday at 8:30, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's transcribed story, They've Got More Than Coffee in Brazil.
Her name was Irene Centino. The lady from Brazil, the Lion called her. He figured it for an easy trace job, something for missing persons. Only when we do them, the Lion gets paid. Well, the program said it was simple. Except before we wound it up, there were a couple of added attractions. A doctor who didn't do any doctoring, a nurse with a built-in temperature, and a couple of blackouts that were meant to be permanent. And guess what? In that last part, I was supposed to be the star. Anyhow, it all began late last Monday. I was home. My boss, Anthony J. Lyon, knocked on my door. I opened it. And that's when I made my first mistake.
Jeffrey, I'm glad I found you in. I'm just on my way home from the office.
You could have kept on going. I'm out of bourbon.
Oh, now, Jeffrey, I didn't come by just for that. You got anything else?
Nope.
All right. As a matter of fact, I want your advice, Regan.
Cut out starches and get some exercise.
Yes.
What else?
Yeah, what would you do if you traveled 10,000 miles just to see your sister and then couldn't find her?
I'd give up the search.
You would? Why?
I haven't got a sister.
That's not what I'm talking about. You'd go to missing persons, wouldn't you? Sure you would. But if you knew your family in a foreign country would become greatly alarmed at this sort of notoriety, you'd look for your sister in another way. You'd hire a good private detective. Now, isn't that right?
Come on, Fatso, get to the point.
We have a new client. Her name's Irene Centino. She's from Brazil. Rio. Fine family, Regan. Coffee. She's engaged the Lion Detective Bureau to locate her younger sister, Carmen.
I'm no St. Bernard.
You'll do till I can feed one. Oh, I know you've been working hard lately, but, Jeffrey, this is one of those occasions when I'm proud to be a part of our profession. We have an opportunity to help a young lady in desperate straits and, at the same time, secure goodwill from South America.
Ever hear of the State Department?
Of course I have, but they can't do it all alone. It's up to individual citizens to take responsibility, too.
And that's the only reason you want me to find her sister?
Absolutely. Now, Miss Centino is taking an apartment at this address. Here, go see her, comfort her, let her know the Lion Detective Bureau and the United States of America will do everything possible to locate her lost sister.
That all?
That's enough.
What'd she pay you?
$200.
Yeah. That's a lot of green to get in advance.
She insisted. She's very anxious to find that girl.
Well, watch out her check doesn't bounce.
It won't. She paid cash.
The $200 was already making a lump in the lion's coat, and I knew the next spot for it was his mattress. Well, maybe that's the reason he's a bachelor. I left him in my place and drove over to the address he'd given me. It was one of those Beverly Hills apartments with a long, glassy look. Irene Santino's apartment was on the second floor. She was a tall, brown-haired girl without a smile. She wore glasses. And when she talked, she sounded sad, like a banjo player with a paper pick.
Thank you so much for coming over, Mr. Regan. I've been very upset all day. I just had to do something about Carmen.
Your sister?
Yes, my younger sister. She's the one I came here to see.
Yeah, I heard.
It's an awful vacant feeling. I thought she'd meet me at the airport, and then she wasn't there. And when I went to her address, we were very close.
She's from Rio, too?
Yes, of course.
How's her English?
Well, the same as mine. We were both educated in the United States.
Where?
Back east. Vassar.
You older than Carmen?
Yes, 2 years. She's 25 now. Carmen left home a year ago, you see. She's always been very independent, and well, I'm afraid something might have happened to her.
Like what?
Well, I don't know. Young girl, pretty, I don't know. Now, as I say, she's so independent. I received this letter from her a few days ago. It was the first word since she left home.
It came this way?
Well, yes.
No envelope?
Oh, well, I threw that away. She wrote her address there at the end, and I didn't see any need for keeping the envelope.
And, she wasn't at this address?
That's what frightens me. There isn't any such address.
Yeah. What does your sister Carmen look like?
Why, I gave her a snapshot to Mr. Lyne. Didn't he give it to you?
He forgets things.
Oh, no matter. I have another. Of course, it's old and not very good. I think it's right here in this suitcase. You'll pardon things coming all over, but I haven't had time to do any... Oh, here it is. Right here.
Ah, she's blonde, huh?
Well, a little lighter than mine. We're the same height, too. We used to wear each other's clothes. Oh, Mr. Regan, you will be able to find her, won't you?
I don't think you want me to.
Mr. Regan, are you trying to be funny?
You hand me a snapshot so old it could be anybody and a letter that says nothing, and you want me to turn up a blonde.
But I thought those would be leads. She mentions the name of a doctor. I thought you
Is he the man?
The man?
She left home a year ago. She wasn't following the crops.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was a man in it. If I'm going to do any good, I've got to have it all, lady.
All right, there was a man.
Yeah.
His name was Frank Martin. Carmen met him once in Mexico City. She thought she was in love with him. But he has nothing to do with it, Mr. Regan. I'm sure he has nothing to do with it.
How do you know?
Because I looked him up. He lives out on Laurel Avenue.
You talked to him?
No, but I asked questions around. I'm completely satisfied he knows nothing about it. Look, if you'd see this doctor my sister mentioned...
You want me to find your sister?
Yes.
But you don't want me to see this Frank Martin.
I didn't say that.
You didn't have to, lady. Okay. You'll get a report when I got something. Oh, there's one more thing.
What's that?
How long did you stop off on the way to shop in New York?
What makes you think I'd do that?
Labels. When you leave your clothes strewn around, labels show. There's no Saks Fifth Avenue in Rio. When I walked out, her mouth was wide open like she was trying to scream. Only nothing came out. I hung around the door outside for a minute to see if she'd use the phone. But when nothing happened, I looked up Frank Martin in the city directory and drove over to Laurel. A 2-story apartment building the color of a bride's blush. It was wrapped around a swimming pool, too small for people, too big for birds. Martin's name wasn't on the mailbox, so I tried the manager's door. His voice sounded like a beer truck in low gear.
Well, come on in, Pilgrim. You don't know me, do you?
I just got here.
I played the Palace in 26. Oh, them was the days.
Write it up. Sell at the movies.
Oh, them slobs. Central Casting ain't called me in 4 years.
You got a card?
AFRA, SAG, and the Musicians Union. I play the French horn. And none of them call me. Now, I figure it's television. No union yet, but... by the way, what are you doing here, buddy?
Looking for a man named Frank Martin.
Now, look, I like Frank. You got trouble, stay away from him. He bruises easy.
And you're just a mother to him.
He's a nice laddie. Remember what I tell you, huh?
Sure.
Come on, I'll show you.
Thanks.
That's him.
He stays in one key.
All the time. A low one.
Sounds like.
Second door on the right.
Thanks.
See ya, Pilgrim.
Come on in. It's unlocked.
Your name Frank Martin?
Yep. Who wants to know?
My name's Regan. I'm a private investigator with Lion Detective Bureau.
Wrong steer, Gumshoe. I don't need one.
Not looking for work. I'm looking for you.
What'd you say it was, Regan?
Yeah.
R-E-G-A-N? Regan? Regan. Just wrote that one. Cute, huh?
I'm, looking for a friend of yours.
A second ago you were looking for me. Now you're looking for a friend of mine. Frank Martin never had a friend. Who are we talking about?
Carmen Centino.
Oh. How is Carmen these days?
I don't know.
Thought you said you were a detective.
I did.
You sound like an amateur.
You sound like a guy with a chip on his shoulder.
I sound like a lot of things. You trying to get tough, baby?
I figures why your name isn't on the mailbox.
Yeah?
Nobody'd ever write you.
I'll skip that, Regan. Who hired you to do what?
Her sister's in town. She's looking for Carmen.
Didn't know Carmen had a sister. What else?
You're the boyfriend. Where is she?
Yeah, the boyfriend. That's real good. Let me tell you what Carmen's like, Regan. Eyes just right. Hair just right. Everything just right. Everything just right. Wait till you see her in a bathing suit. That's something, brother.
She, isn't wearing one in this picture.
Bad picture, Regan. You got no idea how bad. Hardly looks like her, like she is. Ever met him like that?
Sometimes.
About a year ago, I was sitting right here and the phone rings. It's Carmen. You know, we talked about
football.
Marriage. We were going to be married, Regan, only she decided all of a sudden she didn't want it. Just like that. It was her idea. I haven't seen her since.
You tried?
Once. She moved. No forwarding address, that's all.
Makes good story.
But you don't believe it. Now, let me tell you the reason we broke up. It's a dilly.
My hearing's good.
Well, you heard about the happy couple, but the guy keeps getting loaded, can't lay off. This is different. Big switch.
Carmen.
Yeah. Yeah, Carmen.
That's why she was seeing a doctor?
Carmen seeing a doctor? Look, why don't you get out of here?
Why?
Because we don't like each other.
The sister thinks something might have happened to Carmen. She's scared.
Some of us are scared part of the time, and then somebody makes a lot of noise looking for somebody, then everybody gets scared. You scared, Regan?
Yeah.
Oh? About what?
Carmen Centino. I might be looking too late. Well, what he gave me filled in the cast, but the plot wasn't getting any clearer. So I looked up the doctor Carmen had mentioned in her letter. His name was Kingston, and the only address was a place out in Encino. It was a ranch house spilled all over the top of the hill like whipped cream. Figured he was getting over ceiling for his pills. I parked my car by the gate and followed the flagstones up to the front door. When I pressed a button, I heard something that sounded like chamber music. A blonde girl wearing a red dress that must have been riveted for her opened the door about the middle of the second chorus.
Well, I like blue serge. It has an effect on me.
It's the only thing in the closet.
You fill it out nice, but you don't look sick.
I want to see the doctor anyway.
Come in and we'll talk about it. My, you are tall, Mr.
Regan.
Regan.
Who are you? Florence Nightingale?
I hold the doctor's stethoscope. My name's Vivian Lytell.
Mind telling him I'm here?
Yes, he's busy.
So are you, lady.
He'll be busy quite a while. He just opened another bottle.
Well, I'm right on time.
You're so eager.
Oh, wait.
Rex isn't sociable like me. He drinks alone. He gets more that way. Let me entertain you.
Easy, Angel. I don't know how to fix a fracture.
I've already got a man who can do that. I want one with brains.
What's the matter with the doc?
He keeps his in a bottle. Hasn't used them for a long time now.
He's done all right.
This? He'd be selling papers if his wife hadn't left him a good insurance policy.
What's the matter? Don't you like his money?
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's just that a girl has feelings, too.
Yeah. They show.
Oh, I'm glad I met you. We're going to have some nice afternoons.
But you work for a living.
I got lots of free time. Besides, I should have at least one outside interest.
Keep looking. You'll find one.
You smile good, but you talk nasty.
I only came to see Kingston.
There's the phone. Call and make an appointment. Now, get out.
Vivian, about this... Oh, I didn't know you had company. I'll talk to you another time.
Just a minute, Doctor. This is Mr. Regan. He's your company, but he doesn't have a business card.
Look, Mr. Regan, I'm no longer in practice, just doing a search on my own. I have all the medical equipment I can use, and I turned all my patients over to another doctor.
I know one you forgot.
Oh? Well, tell me who.
Carmen Centino.
Go ahead, Vivian. I'll speak to Mr. Regan.
Watch yourself, Rex. He doesn't know how to be nice.
It'll only take a minute.
I'll crack some ice. You'll need a drink.
Very fine, nurse.
Yeah. It's a nice uniform.
Working on my own. We're very casual. You said I had a patient named Carmen what was it?
Carmen Centino.
I'm afraid you're mistaken, Mr. Regan. Who told you that?
I read about you in a letter.
Must have been another Kingston.
There's only one with a license.
Are you a relative of this girl?
Friend.
You're a detective, aren't you?
Yeah. Want to show me your files someday?
Why not today? This way. I keep them right here on my lap. Help yourself, Mr. Regan.
Thanks.
Want a drink?
Too early.
You don't mind if I have one?
Your house.
Find anything?
Not under Centino. Could have used another name.
That's possible. When was I supposed to have treated her?
Oh, about a year ago, according to this letter. Here. Here's a picture.
No. I've never treated anyone who looks like that.
Sure?
Positive. What was her illness?
Might have had something to do with that stuff you're drinking. They, die from it sometimes.
I see. You can't see it from this window, but just over the hill, my wife's buried. I had special permission from the county to bury her on my property. She was a great comfort to me when she was alive. I haven't been the same since she passed away, and... well, that's why I'm no longer in practice.
I didn't ask for that.
But you did, with your eyes. You're a strange man. Do you enjoy making a living this way, prying into other people's lives, searching for what's best left alone?
Is he still here, Rex?
Yes, Vivian, but he's just leaving. You can find your way.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Blue Surge. You were a real disappointment.
Don't give up. I'll be back.
Don't bother, Regan. The doctor will be out.
The whole thing looked phony, like a fan dancer in long underwear. But when I left the two of them, I was beginning to get an idea. Just beginning. I walked over the side of the hill to look at the grave. It was there, all right, like he said. Irene Kingston, 1922, 1948. Maybe that explained it. Maybe it didn't. I was remembering those New York labels I'd seen on Irene Centino's clothes when I left there and looked up a friend of mine in the CAA. He checked into it and told me nobody named Centino had come in from Rio on any flight last week. And the immigration people didn't have a passport or visa record on her either. I was home thinking about all this when my phone began ringing. It was Irene Centino. She did all the talking.
I tried to get you at your office, Mr. Regan, but no one answered. I had to speak to you.
What about?
I found Carmen.
Yeah?
Rather, Carmen found me. I feel sort of foolish now, calling you people in and all that. Well, she came right to my apartment. Can you imagine? She's been looking for me.
What about her address?
Oh, that was another silly thing. Only it was a mistake. She's not very good at details. Please thank Mr. Lyon for his kindness. And, Mr. Regan.
Yeah?
It's all confidential. I wouldn't want any of this to get to the wrong people.
You know some of the wrong kind?
Doesn't everyone? Well, goodbye.
Oh, Jeffrey, you run any expenses on the Centino thing?
No.
Good. It's all over.
Well, how do you know? She just...
It just came from missing persons. There's a cop there named Perini. Got an eye like an eagle.
Talk sense.
I had that other picture of the Centino dame with me. He took one look at it and opened up a file.
What kind of file?
Dead and unclaimed.
What do you mean?
The county buried her. Carmen Centino's been dead a year.
This is CBS, and you are listening to They've Got More Than Coffee in Brazil, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, there were enough angles to write a new geometry book. Irene Centino gave me a picture and a letter and started me digging for her sister, Carmen. I meet a guy with a piano and a doctor with a bottle. Everybody talks, but nobody says anything. And then Irene calls me off, says she found her sister. Only the lion walks in with a different version. Missing persons say Carmen Centino's holding down a spot in the county cemetery. Well, I figured somebody was having nightmares. I didn't say anything to the lion and went down to the Hall of Records. There was a little guy sitting at the desk in vital statistics. His fingernails were dirty and he was reading a dictionary. He must have been at a good part because he looked mad when I interrupted him.
We're not on a bus. Quit shoving.
I want some information.
I'm a public servant. That's what I'm here for. What kind of information?
Get to the death files, will you?
You're a morbid guy. We got a lot of stuff on births and marriages. Ask me something about that.
A girl named Carmen Centino died about a year ago. Tell me what from.
Okay. How do you spell it?
Just like it sounds.
Centino, huh? Sabatini, Sanaki, Sanford. That's what happened to old Sandy. No wonder I ain't seen him around.
Come on, get with it, will you?
Here it is. Centino. Date of death, 15 October 1948. Cause of death?
Alcoholic poisoning.
Yeah. How'd you get it?
Never mind. Who signed the certificate?
Rex J. Kingston, M.D.
Okay. Here's one more for you. Look up Irene Kingston.
The doc's wife?
Look it up.
Okay. Kingsley. Here. Kingston, Irene. 13 October 1948.
Cause of death?
You guessed it again. The same. Alcoholic poisoning. Hey, this guy couldn't keep a patient.
Well, that filled it in. I could see the plot, but I wasn't sure of the ending. So I didn't waste any time getting over to Irene Centino's place. But I wasn't fast enough. The door was halfway open when I got there. All the company had left, but Irene was still around. She was sitting there looking at the phone, like it was all she had to think about.
Mr. Regan.
What's so funny?
Everything. Everything, Mr. Regan. Oh, excuse me for not getting up. I didn't expect you. I told you I found my sister, didn't I?
Yeah, you told me, but you didn't tell me she was dead.
I didn't even tell you that I haven't got a sister. Did I? Did I?
Come on, lady, give it to me. What are you talking about?
Look, this little red spot on my arm. Doesn't look like much, does it? But just wait, Mr. Regan. You just wait. You just wait. Wait.
I found a doctor on the floor below. He grabbed his black bag and went to work on her. She quieted down to a slow inside giggle, then went out altogether. The doctor got hold of an ambulance and carted her off to a hospital. They just wheeled her out the door when the lion showed up.
Jeffrey, did I see an ambulance out front?
That's right. Your client was in it.
What?
Yeah, somebody stuffed her full of something that made her giggle.
I don't understand all this at all. I stopped by home to change to my dark suit so I could come by and bring Miss Centino the news of her sister's death, and what do I walk in?
You can save your tears, Fatso. She didn't come from Brazil, and she wasn't rich.
That woman gave me $200 cash. There was nothing unreliable about her. We had a contract.
You can use it for confetti.
Now see here, Jeffrey.
Look, Lion, look at this picture.
Carmen Centino. I have one just like it.
All right, draw some glasses on it. Add about 6 or 7 years.
I don't understand you, Jeffrey. We're talking business, and all at once we're playing games.
When I came to see her tonight, she wasn't wearing her glasses. She looked a lot like the dame in this picture.
Of course she did, naturally. That's her own sister.
She never had a sister.
Never had a sister? Then who did the county bury?
That's what I'm going to find out from a guy named Rex Kingston.
I had a feeling you'd be back. I built a fire.
I forgot the marshmallows.
Come on in. I'm not mad anymore.
I'm still looking for your doctor.
Let me take care of you. I have a way with men.
Didn't we do all this once before?
Oh, it's night now. You can ask me some questions. I know some swell answers.
I'll bet.
How do you like your drink?
Your way?
That's better. Now, let's have a nice, quiet evening. Just you and me.
I want want to see him.
There's been a famine of men like you.
You don't look underfed. I said I want to see him.
Oh, all right. We could have had such a nice evening. Rex?
What is it?
Mr. Regan's here again.
Yes. Hello, Regan. Didn't I tell you I'd be out?
Yeah, you told me that, but you didn't tell me what I wanted to know. I had to go to vital statistics to get that.
What?
You don't have anything in your files about Carmen Centino, but you signed a death certificate.
Now, you get this, Regan. You saw my files once, and I don't have to open them again to anyone who comes here without a warrant, and you haven't got one.
But I know where I can get one. When I go to the city attorney's office and tell them what I've got, they'll have somebody out here to exhume that grave on the hill.
What do you mean, Regan?
Irene Kingston died 2 days before Carmen Centino of the same thing. Dr. Kingston signed both certificates. He collects on his wife's insurance, only I don't think his wife really died. I think that extra grave up on the hill is window dressing.
And if my wife didn't die, Regan, where is she now?
I don't know. She could be at a downtown hospital, posing under the name of Irene Centino. It was a shot in the dark, but it brought results. Kingston swung a lamp base around to connect it on the side of my head. When I came to, I was in a white room, back of the house. Tried to move my head, but it felt like a grand piano. Nothing else worked either, so I just lay there. Pretty soon somebody began putting something damp on my face, and I began to see better. Vivian was standing there with Kingston. He looked sick, like an ostrich with a sore throat. He had a needle in his hand.
I can't. You can do it all right, Rex. Go ahead.
That's the same treatment you tried to give Irene?
You should have stayed out, Regan.
I wanted one more look at you, baby.
I hate to see the nice ones go, but it'll be all over in a minute. All right, Rex.
Give me a drink, Vivian. Gotta have a drink.
It won't help. I found Irene in time. She's gonna live. She's gonna talk.
Go ahead, Rex. Give it to him. Then we'll clear out.
But Irene's still alive. I didn't kill her.
You'll do better this time.
I can't.
Go ahead.
No, I won't.
I said go ahead or I'll shoot you, Rex. I'll shoot you if you don't.
No, you don't. It's all over, Vivian. It's all over.
Vivian had the gun, but Kingston was too much for her. All of a sudden, it began going off. Vivian started to look pale. And then she went down. Slow. Easy. She deserved it. That what you're going to tell the state?
Regan, is Irene really going to live?
That's what the doctor says.
Good, Regan. No, don't try to move. I gave you a shot of preparatory solution. You won't be able to move for another hour. I suppose I ought to run.
You won't get far.
I know. But listen to me. Irene, she's my wife. She's innocent of all this. When you tell the police the real story...
I haven't got it all.
You had enough?
It started with Carmen Centino.
She stumbled in one night. She was very ill. She dropped dead before I could do anything for her.
Alcohol?
Yes. But before she died, she kept talking about a man named Martin.
Lives over on Laurel.
Yes, I was going to get in touch with him. But I had a better idea. She looked a great deal like my wife, Irene. It was quite remarkable.
The insurance.
Yes. Irene didn't want to do it, but she loved me, so she finally disappeared. I used one body for 2 death certificates and buried an empty box up on the hill. I was supposed to join Irene later.
See. Vivian.
Yes. Vivian came along. I was drinking one night and she found out the truth. I was trapped. It would have stayed that way if Irene hadn't hired you.
And I was supposed to scare you with that story about her sister in Brazil.
It worked, too.
That guy Martin said. Somebody gets scared. And then you...
Regan, can you hear me?
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Stuff's making me sleepy.
It'll wear off. I'm going now, Regan. See that Irene gets a fair shake?
I'll try. He picked up a bottle and started out the door. He didn't even look down at Vivian's body on the floor. I tried to move. Like he said, nothing worked. It was 2 more hours before I could get to the phone and call homicide. It was 2 more days before I talked to the Lion.
Sure. I'm sending it right over. Yes, of course. Jeffrey, my boy, how are you feeling? Better?
Well, the fog's gone out of my head, if that's what you mean. Otherwise, I feel lousy.
Oh, don't take it so hard, my boy. All in a day's work. Besides, there's the brighter side. Yes, indeed.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, they got that Dr. Kingston. He only got as far as Las Vegas. Crime doesn't pay, Jeffrey. Crime just does not pay.
Doesn't, huh? What's this?
Now, wait a minute. Give me that.
Application. Consolidated insurance.
It's nothing, I tell you.
You mean to tell me we're going to try to collect a reward?
We exposed an insurance fraud. Every insurance company pays a little something for that. We had expenses. You don't know how hard I've worked on this, Jeffrey.
Here, take it back.
Well, what's the matter? You look like it's something illegal.
Crime does not pay.
Jeff Regan, Investigator, is directed and transcribed by Sterling Tracy and stars Frank Graham as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Tonight's script was by E. Jack Newman. Original music is by Dick Arant. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A killer's loose in your city. You don't know who he is or where to find him. You don't know who his victim will be. Your job, stop him.
It was Tuesday, May 13th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Warman. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from handwriting, and it was 8:26 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
You get it?
Yeah. Don just finished up. He says the handwriting matches. Victim wrote the note.
Huh. That's it then, huh?
Yeah.
You talked to his wife?
Yeah, she's pretty broken up.
Figures. Ate too fast. Like a heartburn.
Well, why don't you take a couple of Pepto Pals or whatever it is? Let's get on with this. A lot of work here.
Hey, there's an idea. Never thought of that. Yeah, I got some in my locker over here.
You sure have.
Last time I bought a big box of them. There must be some left. Yeah.
Find them?
Yeah. He thinks the husband fits in, huh?
Yeah, all the way along the... What are you doing?
Huh?
I said, what are you doing there?
I found the Peptos.
Yeah, but what are you doing with them there?
Oh, putting them together. I must have dropped them sometime. See, all the pills are all broken up. Trying to put one together. You can't be too careful. Can't take too much. Where's this? Where? Oh, there. One pill. That's all you're supposed to take, just one.
Uh-huh. I don't understand.
What do you mean?
How you can come in here, no sleep, upset stomach, and feel so good.
Yeah. You know something, Joe?
What's that?
Suppose. I really don't.
You don't, huh?
No. That ought to be about right, I guess. Does that look like one pill to you?
I don't know, Frank.
I hope so.
It's too important a decision for me to help you with.
Oh, Pepto Pal. Good for what ails you. Potent, Joe. Real potent.
Mm-hmm. I just wondered if you were all through now.
Oh, as soon as I scrape the crumbs away. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, here's one you missed.
Thanks. Well, you're half gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where to? Yeah.
Well, are you all through now? You've had your pill and everything?
Joe, I took my pill. I've got the Pepto Pals all worked out now. What can I do for you?
Gotcha. I'll get it.
For us?
Yeah, shooting at the corner of Broadway and San Julian.
Who's the victim?
Traffic officer. We We left the office and drove to the scene of the shooting. Traffic at the intersection had come to a virtual standstill. 18 feet from the northwest corner, lying in the middle of the pedestrian crosswalk, was a uniformed traffic officer. He was wearing the white cap of the traffic division. There was a large blood stain on the right side of his chest, and his service revolver was still in his holster. By the time we got to the scene, the ambulance had arrived, and the wounded officer was being given emergency treatment. Other officers were trying to get the traffic moving again, and additional men were throwing up a blockade around the immediate vicinity in an attempt to apprehend the person who'd shot the policeman. Captain Lorman and Chief Detective Thad Brown arrived and took charge of the search. Frank and I checked through the crowd that had gathered, and we found a witness to the shooting.
I saw the whole thing, officer, right from the beginning. I saw it. Just about the most awful thing I ever saw.
All right, sure. If you'll just give us your name.
Roy Hickok. It's Hickok.
All right, Mr. Hickok. Now, if you'll tell us what happened.
Well, I was on my way to work, walking down the street. I got to the corner here, Broadway and San Julian. I got to the corner. I stopped for a light.
Go ahead.
I just stood there waiting for it to be time to cross. All of a sudden, this car came up and slid to a stop. The light changed, and he had to stop. He must have been going pretty fast because he went clear out into the intersection. And the officer, the one who was shot, held up his hand. I think that was the only reason the driver didn't run the light. The officer held up his hand.
All right, sir, go ahead.
Well, the fellow stopped, but he was right in the middle of the crosswalk. Everybody had to go around the car, out into the intersection. He was right in the middle, and we all had to go around it.
Yeah.
Well, he just sat there. He didn't make any try to back up or nothing. He just sat there, kind of waiting for the light to change again so he could get going.
I see.
Then the officer, the one who was shot, he started to walk over to the fella. I guess he wanted him to back up. Must have been something like that. Wanted him to get out of the way.
What happened then?
Well, all of a sudden, this guy in the car just started shooting.
Where was the officer when the shooting started?
We hadn't got to the car yet. He must have been about 10, 12 feet from it. This guy pulled out the gun and started plowing away. Point blank, he did it, right in the policeman's face.
Yeah.
Well, everybody on the street got panicky when they heard the shooting. Started to run everywhere, yelling, screaming, real panic.
What did the officer do?
Nothing. He stood there and looked surprised. And then he tried to get his gun out of the holster, but... Well, before he could do it, the fellow in the car shot a couple more times, and the policeman fell down.
What did he do then?
You mean the guy in the car?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, he took off. Drove right through the people and drove down San Julian. It's a wonder he didn't kill somebody the way he drove off. Just didn't care about anybody. Barreled south on San Julian.
Did you talk to the other officers about this?
Well, not too much. Seems like as soon as it happened, there were so many people around, there wasn't much time to talk to anybody. I called down where I worked, and I told them I'd be late. I told them to expect me when I walked in. I never did see so many policemen or cars.
Oh, just a minute, will you? Folks, you'll have to get back here, please. Give us a little more room now. All right, thank you. Can you give us a description of the car?
The one the killer drove?
Yes, sir.
Well, you bet I can. I can tell you all about it.
All right, would you go ahead?
Well, it was a dark-colored sedan. A dark blue.
What kind of car was it?
You mean the brand?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm not real sure about that. It all happened so fast. All of a sudden it was over. I only got a kind of a quick look at it because I wasn't paying much attention to it.
Well, look, folks, you'll have to stay back here, please. Frank, hold them back over there, will you? Now, what kind of a car was it?
Well, I think it was either a Plymouth or maybe a DeSoto, but I'm not sure.
But you're pretty sure about the color, are you?
Oh, yeah. It was blue, dark blue.
Well, what about the man driving the car? Did you get a good look at him?
Yeah, I guess just about everybody did. Sitting out there in the middle of the street like that. Everybody that went by him had a look at him.
Could you give us a description of him?
Well, what do you want to know?
Well, how about the color of his hair?
It was light, not real blonde, but a light color.
How about his eyes?
It looked like they was blue.
About how old would you say the man was?
I don't know, maybe 24, 25, around in there. He wasn't real old.
Was he clean-shaven?
Yeah.
How about glasses? Do you remember? Was he wearing them?
No.
Was there anything about him that'd make it easier for us to identify him?
I don't think I know what you mean.
Well, was there anything about him, a scar, maybe a birthmark, something like that you might have seen?
Not that I remember. It might have had something like that, but if he did, I don't remember.
Did you have the chance to see what the man was wearing?
Well, just that he had on a white shirt and a jacket. It looked like the ones they issue in the Army. The kind of windbreaker type, light material.
Did the man say anything?
If he did, I didn't hear it. As soon as he started shooting, it seemed like the roof come off. All the noise, everybody yelling, trying to get out of the way of the bullets. If he said anything, I sure didn't hear it.
I see. Now, is there anything else that you can give us on the man?
Well, there is, Sergeant, but I feel a little silly about it.
Well, what's that, sir?
What's about the car? I told you I didn't pay much attention to it, not at first. Well, after the shooting started, then I got as good a look as I could. I got a pretty good look at the back of it when the guy took off.
Just a minute, I didn't hear you.
I say I got a pretty good look at the back of it when the guy took off. When he went down the street.
I see.
I feel a little silly because I didn't get more.
How's that?
The license number.
Yeah.
I can only get 4 of the numbers.
The witness was able to give us the numbers, 1 Sugar 139. A broadcast was gotten out carrying this information, and a search was started through auto records in an attempt to come up with the owner of the vehicle. 2 men were detailed to the Department of Motor Vehicles to assist their men in the search of the files. Meantime, Chief Brown and Captain Lorman had ordered roadblocks to be put up on San Julian and all streets leading to adjoining areas. The one witness, Roy Hickok, was taken to the city hall and was shown the mug books. He was unable to come up with an identification on the suspect. 12:40 p.m. Frank put in a call to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and found that Officer Larry Giroux was still in a critical condition and that he had not regained consciousness. His family had been notified, and the car was dispatched to bring his wife to the hospital. All people in the immediate vicinity of the shooting were interrogated, and their statements were taken, but none of them could give us a lead as to the identity of the suspect. 5:27 p.m. Frank and I went back to the office. While he checked by auto records, I put in a call to Captain Lorman. Yeah, Skipper. No, they're still checking. Yeah. Well, Frank's down there now. Uh-huh. Yeah, he looked at him, but he wasn't able to give us anything. No, I say he couldn't give us anything. No, last we heard he was still unconscious. Yeah, that's right. Well, he left word that we're to be called if he comes out. Mm-hmm. No. Glinda and McCready are over there. Yeah, she's taking it pretty hard.
Joe.
Mm-hmm. Right. Just a minute, I got Skipper on the phone. If anything turns up, we'll call you.
Joe.
Yeah.
Important.
Hold on a minute, will you, Skipper? Yeah, what do you got?
Well, they made the car.
Yeah.
It was stolen this morning.
Well, we got a pretty good piece of news. No, Frank just came in. They made the car. It was stolen this morning. We got in touch with the owner of the car, and we talked to him. He told us that he'd noticed that the car was gone from the place where he'd left it the night before, and that he'd filed a report on it immediately. We got a full description of the vehicle, and a supplementary broadcast was gotten out. 8:14 p.m. We got a call from Georgia Street Hospital telling us that Officer Giroux had regained consciousness and he could be questioned. Frank and I left the office and drove over to see him. By the time we got there, however, he lapsed into a coma again. We talked to Dr. Sebastian. He told us that he'd removed 4 bullets from Giroux's body. One of the shots had severed the officer's spinal cord. In the event that he pulled out of it, he'd never walk again. Frank and I talked with Galindo and McCready. They'd been able to interview the wounded officer, but they hadn't been able to get any additional information from him. As we walked down the hall, we met Mrs. Giroux.
Sergeant Friday?
Yes, ma'am?
I'm Ellen Giroux, Larry's wife.
Yes, ma'am.
Do they know yet? Do they know if Larry's going to be all right?
Well, it'd be better if you talked to Dr. Sebastian, Miss Giroux.
I have. He tells me they don't know yet. How can they say that? They don't know. Larry's been here for almost 12 hours. They must know something. Why won't they tell me?
We're sorry, Miss Giroux.
Have you caught the man yet? The man who did this to Larry, have you got him yet?
No, ma'am, not yet.
Then what are you doing here? Why aren't you out looking for him?
We're doing everything we can, ma'am.
But you haven't caught him. You're all running around looking, but you haven't caught him. Well, that's doing a lot of good. It makes me feel a lot better to know that the man who shot my husband is still running free.
We're sorry.
That doesn't help, Sergeant. I can't take it home with me and spread out your sorrow in front of my children. They're still going to want to know where their father is. They're still going to want to have him back. Your good wishes aren't going to be enough.
Joe, I'll check the office.
All right. Tell the skipper we're going to tag Metro Division.
Right.
Miss Giroux, we know how you feel. We know what's going through your mind. My partner there was just shot not too long ago, and I've been right here in this same place waiting for a report, too, just like you. I know what it is to see the doctor come out of a treatment room and not say anything. I know there isn't much I can say to make it easier. But we can tell you this. There are 4,000 policemen in this city. Every one of them is looking for the man who shot your husband.
Joe?
Yeah.
The suspect?
Yeah.
They found him.
The tip had come in from a man who had phoned the complaint board and said that he knew where the suspect was hiding. The man wouldn't give his name. Immediately, 2 cars were dispatched to the address. It was a cheap rooming house on East 4th Street. The manager of the place said that there was a tenant who matched the description of the suspect in a room on the 5th floor. He'd given the name James Krell. When the investigating officers had approached the room, they were met with gunfire. They returned the fire. The building was evacuated, and the streets in front of the building were roped off. Several more cars arrived from Metro Division, and the building was completely surrounded. Frank and I stopped by the office and picked up tear gas equipment. From what we were told, the suspect had barricaded the door leading into the room with furniture. The only way we had to get him out alive was with gas. Frank and I talked with Captain Lorman and with Chief Brown. It was decided to use a flight right shell and blast through the door. Frank took the gun and we went up to the 5th floor. The halls were empty.
You all set?
Let's give him another chance.
All right, Krell. We'll give you one more chance to come out of there. Come on, Krell. Open the door and throw the gun out. He's not coming out. All right, this is the last time around, Krell.
Get out of here, Pop. Get out of here, leave me alone. You try to come through that door and I'll kill you. I swear I will. I'll kill you where you stand.
All right, Frank. Let's put the mask on.
Right.
You all set?
Yeah.
I let it go. Should be coming out.
Yeah.
He's moving that furniture.
I'll cover this side.
All right, watch it.
I'm coming out. I give up. I quit.
All right, throw that gun out here. Throw the gun out first, and then you follow it.
Okay. I'm doing what you say. Here's the gun. I quit. Here's the gun.
I got it.
All right, Carl. Come on out with your hands behind your head. Come on, move.
All right. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. I'm doing like you say. I'm coming.
All right, come on, move. Down here. Come on, move, Carl. All right, this will do. Now stand still.
Hands up against the wall.
Come on, Krell. Do what he says.
I can't breathe. I'll do whatever you say, but I can't breathe. I can't breathe. That gas.
You better get used to it, Krell.
What?
If that cop dies, they won't let you walk out of the room. The suspect was taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital for treatment. When the investigating officers had approached the room that he was hiding in, Krell had shot at them through the door. They'd returned the fire, and one of the bullets had shattered his left wrist. We got his full name when we ran him through R&I. We found that he had a minor record in California and was at the time a deserter from the Army. His wrist was taken care of, and then Frank and I talked to him in the treatment room.
Lousy deal all the way around.
Is that right?
Sure, you guys had no right to come up there and shoot off that gas.
We didn't call it.
Lousy deal.
Why'd you shoot that officer?
I thought he was going to shoot me. It was self-defense.
When they picked him up, his gun was still in his holster.
Then somebody put it back.
Why do you want to shoot you?
Who knows? Who can figure any cop? You're all sadists.
Why'd you do it?
Look, I'll tell you nice and plain. I drove up to the signal. I stopped. This wise cop come over and started rousing me about being in the intersection. I told him to shut up. I don't have to take that kind of talk from nobody. He pulled a gun. It was self-defense.
We got a couple of people saw the whole thing. They tell a little different.
They're either psycho or else you're paying them off.
How long you been AWOL?
Who says I am?
The Army?
I could square that beef with him.
What about that car you were driving this morning?
What about
Where'd you get it?
Belongs to a friend of mine. I borrowed it.
Owner reported it stolen.
He must have forgotten. He told me to take it.
What's the friend's name?
I forget.
He'd pay you to remember.
I have a very bad memory.
Why'd you shoot the officer?
Because he was going to shoot me.
He just walked up and said he was going to shoot you. Is that it?
Yeah, guy's a sadist. All you cops are. Put that uniform on, you all think you can boss anybody around. Well, you made a mistake with this one. Isn't anybody bosses me around.
How long you been in town?
What?
Answer the question.
Couple of weeks.
You've been AWOL for over 6 months now. Where you been?
Around.
Where?
I like to travel.
Manager of that rooming house says you just checked in this morning. Is that right?
You talked to her. I didn't.
All right, where you been staying?
There goes the memory again.
Look, you're in trouble, Krell. Talk like that won't do you any good.
One of those things. I wish I could help you fellas, but there's nothing I can
Where'd you
do.
get the car?
From a friend.
What's his name?
I don't remember.
But he said you could take it.
Yeah?
Then why did he report it stolen?
Ask him.
We did. He says he doesn't know you.
Where'd you get the gun?
Picked it up.
Where?
Bought it. Don't know the name of the store.
It's being checked now. You might as well save time and tell us.
You're getting paid.
What'd the officer say before you shot him?
Didn't say anything. Just pulled his gun. I was faster. Self-defense.
Now, you might think this is a game, Krell. You maybe think you're a big man sitting here, but I want to set you straight. You're in trouble. More trouble than you've ever been in before. We've got at least 20 people who saw you deliberately gun that cop. They're willing to swear to it in court.
You know what I think it was?
Now, you go ahead and tell us.
There was this kind of purple flash, and all of a sudden this cop was laying there. Maybe it wasn't self-defense. Maybe it was temporary insanity. Hey, how's that sound? Temporary insanity. He died?
No, not yet.
Cops and cats, you can't kill them.
You made a pretty good try. All right, mister, on your feet.
What for?
Come on, let's go.
We're going to jail?
Get up, Krell. Come
Maybe
on
you're going to take me to the gas chamber right now, huh? Do without a trial or nothing. Just lock me up and drop the eggs.
You're awful close to it, mister.
You got to get me there first.
You stand in front of it right now.
I tell you what, I'll give you 10 to 1 I don't make it.
Come on.
Well, I bet you guys would just love to have me make a break, huh?
Now, you listen, Krell. With that arm, we can't put handcuffs on you, but you're still in custody. Don't try anything.
Well, how about it? You'd like that, wouldn't you? Get your pictures in all the papers. Heroic cops kill criminal.
All right, in here.
Yeah, you guys would really like that.
I'm going to give you something for free, Krell.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
You talk a lot, but you don't say anything.
Always happens. Put a guy in a uniform right away. He's a big man. A bum on the outside, but just give him a badge and a suit. Right away, he's big.
Yeah, sure. Come on.
Hey, how's about a cigarette?
Here.
Thanks. Got a match?
Come on, move.
Car's back this way. Hey, wait a minute.
What do you want?
A cigarette. Not doing me much good without a match.
All right, here.
Grab him, Joe. Hold it up, Krell. All right, Krell, hold it up. Hold it up or I'll shoot.
Down. Come on. How about it, Joe? Oh, I guess he was right. Huh? That bet about the gas chamber?
Yeah.
He won't make it. A doctor was called down from the hospital, and the suspect, James Krell, was pronounced dead. The body was removed to the county morgue. In going over the dead man's effects, we found a receipt from one of the downtown hotels. There were 2 names listed on it, and a notation to the effect that the rent on room 517 had been paid for a week. The other name on the slip was Sidney Larson. We checked it through R&I, and we found that Larson had a long felony record in California and had been paroled 2 months previously. The report came back on the gun that Krell had used. It was among 7 revolvers that had been stolen from a hardware store in Tulare on May 6th. The other 6 guns were still missing. We checked with Dr. Sebastian on Officer Giroux's condition. We were told that the policeman was still unconscious, but that he had passed the critical stage. Mrs. Giroux collapsed when she heard the news that her husband would never walk again, and she was placed under sedative. 10:48 p.m. Frank and I left the office and drove over to the hotel named on the receipt that we found. It was a run-down place with a potted rubber plant in the lobby. We rang the bell on the counter and waited.
Yeah?
You the manager here?
Well, right now I am. Yeah, what?
Police officers. Want some information.
About what?
Take a look at this. That one of your receipts?
Let me take a look. Now, wait a minute. Let me get the lights on so I can see. Yeah, there's the name right on the top. Sure looks like it's one of ours, don't it?
You recognize the 2 names on it?
Now, wait a minute. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I recognize him good.
This fellow Larson's he in now?
Well, I don't know. We don't keep a very close tab on the people who stay here. Service isn't too good, but we don't ask questions. Change the sheets once a week. We don't ask questions.
Is he in?
Well, he might be. I'd have to check it.
There's a police investigation, mister. Is Larson in?
I'll check the box. Well, key's gone. Must be upstairs.
He alone?
Can't say. Might be. I didn't hear nobody go up, but then I don't listen too good.
Show us the room.
You mean I got to go up with you?
Come on, mister. Let's go.
Look, we got a nice, quiet hotel. We don't cause no trouble. There's no reason for you cops to come snooping around.
You got the pass key?
Yeah. Let's go. Have to take the elevator up. I can't go to the stairs.
All right. Go ahead.
Uh-huh.
5th floor.
That's what they say, so.
How long have the 2 of them been here?
Huh?
Larson and Krell, how long have they been here?
Well, I'll have to check the book for that. Can't carry those things around in my head. If I did, there wouldn't be no room for the important things.
About when?
What?
About when did they come in?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe 2, 3 weeks around in there.
They got any friends?
Well, most everybody's got a few friends.
Any of them come around here?
No, not that I've seen. We're not snoopy like some.
I'll get the door. All right, which way?
What?
Which way is 517?
To the left. I don't want no trouble here now, huh?
We're not going to make any.
Look, this is a quiet hotel. We don't want any of the tenants to get sore. You guys are going to walk out. I got to live here. I don't want no trouble.
Here it is. All right, give me the key.
Yeah.
I'll take that side, Frank.
Yeah.
Look, you stand back out of the way and keep still. Will you?
No trouble now, huh? Please.
Keep your voice
no
down, will you?
trouble.
All set.
Yeah.
Looks like he's asleep. Now, if you take the right side.
He's got a gun.
Get out of here! Come on! All right, come on. Out of here! Watch it, Frank. Yeah.
What are you doing in here? You got no right to come in like this.
I'll check the room, Joe.
What are you looking for? I'm registered. You check my parole officer. He'll tell you I'm clean.
What about the gun?
All right, so I got a gun.
You're an ex-con, aren't you?
Big deal.
All right, let's go.
Where?
You've been there before. Take a look, Joe. 5 of them. All right, where'd you get these?
You find out, Cock. You're getting nothing from me.
All right, come on.
Take it easy.
Let's go.
What about Krell? You get him, too?
That's right.
You got him in jail?
He's dead.
Krell?
That's right. He tried to make a break, and it didn't work.
Poor kid. Didn't know what it was all about. Wanted to be a tough guy.
Yeah, and you were going to show him how, weren't you?
Nice kid. He wanted to be a big man. We had it all planned. We'd hit the big time. Got the guns. He went out to get a car this morning. That's probably why he killed the cop. Krell got scared. He didn't know he wanted to be big. He wanted people to talk about him.
Don't worry about it, mister.
Huh?
They will.
The coroner's jury returned a verdict that the death of James Edward Krell was justifiable homicide. Sidney Carter Larson was filed on for ex-convict with a gun, and upon completion of sentence on that count was released to the authorities of Tulare, California, for prosecution on a charge of burglary.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet, brought to you by Chesterfield. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, a really refreshing smoke. Buy America's most popular two-way cigarette, Chesterfield. They satisfy millions.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. You get a call that a woman has been badly beaten. She can't describe her assailant. He's still at large. Your job, find him. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, for a really refreshing smoke every time, you should change to Chesterfield. On every count, they satisfy millions. They'll satisfy you. Chesterfield is the cigarette proved highest in quality, low in nicotine. The cigarette tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. The cigarette with the taste and mildness you want. Yes, the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. Best for you. It all adds up to Chesterfield's world-famous slogan. They satisfy. Regular or king size. Try Chesterfield today.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, You will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, January 14th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief Detective Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 11:47 p.m. when we got to 7982 Oakwood Avenue. Front door.
What is it?
Police officers. We'd like to see Miss Griffin.
How do I know?
Beg pardon?
How do I know you're cops?
Here's our identification.
Hand it here.
Pardon?
Pass it through the door. I want to see it good.
All right, here you are.
Yeah.
What do you think? Well, your guess is as good as mine.
Come on in.
Thank you.
Hurry up. Don't let all the rain in.
Yes, ma'am. And if I have my identification back, please.
Take your coats off right here. I don't want you tracking water through the house.
All right, could I have that identification card?
If you don't mind my being so careful about what's happened here. I've got to take all precautions, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
Come on into the sitting room.
I'll take that card. Thank
Which
you.
one of you is Sergeant Friday?
I am.
You're the one who called.
That's right.
Who's he?
It's my partner, Frank Smith.
Uh-huh. Well, sit down. Here's your card.
Thank you.
Get you anything? Cup of coffee? Maybe some hot cocoa?
No, thank you.
Well, suit yourself. What is it you want?
We understand you know Mrs. Kieran.
We're neighbors.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you can tell us what happened here tonight.
Seems like you'd have the story, being cops and all.
Well, we'd like to hear you tell it, ma'am.
All right. I was here tonight watching the TV, just gone out to the kitchen to get a plate of snacks for the late show. You know, kind of like the munch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all of a sudden I heard this scream real loud. I wasn't watching the television right then, so at first I thought it was from the set, you know, like a drama.
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't think nothing about it right then. Got myself all settled for the movie, and then I heard another scream. That's when I knew there was something wrong.
How's that?
There was a quiz on the television. No reason for any screams. Right then there was another one. Then I knew it was from next door.
Yeah.
So I got my coat and umbrella and went over there.
I see.
Knocked on the door, but didn't get no answer. Well, I went into the house, all dark, not a light on. Went right in and called to Mrs. Kieran, called to her.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't answer, but I could kind of hear something off to the back of the place.
Uh-huh.
Sounded like somebody crying. Sounded like a whimper, soft.
Yeah.
It came from the back of the house in the bedroom.
You didn't see anybody else in the house when you went in, did you?
If I had, I'd have told you before this.
Go ahead, please.
I got to the bedroom and opened the door. Couldn't see anything at first.
Uh-huh.
Then I was about to go on in, and this man jumped out at me.
He was in the bedroom, was he?
Yeah, must have been hiding in the dark and heard me coming, and he got back so I wouldn't see him. Then when I opened the door, he jumped right out, almost scared me to death.
Well, what did he do?
He just jumped at me and ran out of the house. Right through the front door, I heard it slam.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard the crying again. It was sort of off to one side of the room. I couldn't see right away where it was coming from.
Uh-huh.
I turned on the light, and right away I saw her. She was laying on the floor.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it was just terrible. Room was all tore up. Things all thrown around, a real mess, and her laying right there in the middle of it, all beat up. Looked like whoever done it had tried to kill her.
What'd you do then?
Called the police. Dialed told the operator to send a policeman. It wasn't long before they was here. It seemed like there was 100 of them all over the place.
All right, Mrs. Griffin. I wonder if you can give us a description of the man you saw.
Other officers asked me the same thing. There isn't much I can tell you. Just all of a sudden he was there, and then he was gone.
You're pretty sure it was a man, though, huh?
Certainly, I guess I know a man when I see one. Been married to one for 22 years.
Yes, ma'am. Can you tell us anything about him?
I just got a glimpse of him, not good. I can't tell you anything but how he looked. He was standing in the dark when I come in. Next thing I knew, he jumped past me and went out the front door.
Yes, ma'am. Would you know him again if you saw him?
I don't think so. Just a glimpse, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Should like to help, but there isn't much more I can tell you.
All right, ma'am.
How is Mrs. Kieran? She going to be okay?
Well, she'll be in the hospital for a few days, but she's going to be all right.
Isn't she able to tell you something about the man who did this?
No, ma'am.
Seems like she'd be able to describe him. Must have been there for a good half hour.
How do you figure that?
Must have been at least that long from the time I heard the first scream till I got over there. First off, I didn't think it was real. Thought it was on television.
Yes, ma'am, you told us.
Must have been a half hour.
Mm-hmm. Now, did Mrs. Kieran have any enemies that you knew of?
Well, there's some people who didn't like her. A couple right here in the neighborhood, but none of them that would do a thing like this.
How'd she and her husband seem to get along?
Well, you mean, did they have any fights?
Yes, that's right.
All the time. Seemed like they was always battling about something.
Would you know what caused the arguments?
Oh, mostly about her, another man. He thought she was running around on him. He used to fight about it. A couple of times he said if she didn't stop, he was going to kill her.
Was that true?
You mean about hurting the men?
Yes.
Well, might have been. For all I know, I didn't pay much mind to their troubles. Seems like I had too many things to keep me busy without getting mixed up in their problems.
All right, Miss Griffin, we'll leave our card with you. If you remember anything you think we'd be interested in, we'd appreciate a call from you.
And if I think of anything, you get one.
Thank you, ma'am.
Don't it seem kind of funny to you?
Well, what's that?
How Mrs. Kieran can't tell you anything about the fella? Don't that strike you kind of odd?
How do you mean?
Well, if somebody is in my house for that long, I'd be able to tell something about him. Something for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I guess with the lights off, maybe she couldn't see. And then again...
Yes, ma'am?
Maybe she don't want to tell you.
Frank and I drove back to the office and put in a call to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. We talked to Dr. Sebastian and found that the victim had recovered to the point where she could be moved to her own hospital. We also talked with the officers who were with her. They told us that the woman hadn't given them any new information and they still hadn't been able to contact her husband. While I checked the crime lab, Frank went down the hall and ran the names Irene and Tom Kieran through R&I. 2:14 a.m. We met back in the squad room.
How'd it go in the crime lab?
Oh, I got it all here. You want to take a look?
Yeah.
Beginning to look like we got a good case against the husband.
Yeah?
No, here. Here's a picture of the room. The woman was found about here. See?
Mm-hmm.
You can see the way the stuff's scattered all around the place, all through here.
Yeah. It looks like robbery.
Well, he wanted it to look that way, maybe.
What do you mean?
Well, in the dresser drawer here, the boys from the crime lab found $120 in cash. All the thief had to do was open the drawer, and he'd have seen it, too.
Oh. Well, how about the entrance?
It's something else that doesn't seem to gel. They checked all the windows and doors. There's no sign of any breaking. She must have opened the door for the thief.
Well, that means it was somebody Mrs. Kiernan knew, huh?
Yeah, it kind of looks that way.
Anything else we can use?
Well, take a look here. Here's a picture of a footprint Lee Jones found in the earth beside the path. The way it looks, the thief left the path when he ran from the house and stepped in the soft dirt.
Do us any good?
No, not much. The ground was wet. Must have been a good impression, but the rain broke down the walls. It's not much good to us now.
That's it, huh?
Yeah? Leighton Prince didn't come up with anything. How'd you do?
Well, nothing on the woman. Husband's got an arrest record.
Yeah.
Got it right here. Mrs. Kieran had him pinched 18 months ago on a beating charge. Refused to prosecute. Same thing a year ago. And here, besides her complaints, he's been booked for ADW and suspicion 211.
Done any big time?
No, never drew a conviction. Now, Joe, the thing I don't understand, if it was her husband, why doesn't she beef him? She wasn't worried about having him arrested before.
I don't know.
There's something wrong about it.
Well, there's got to be an answer someplace. You tagged the stats office?
Yeah, I gave him what we had on the guy. They're going to start a run on the MO in the morning. Better get the rest of this information down to him.
Yeah, we can drop it off on the way out, huh?
Right.
So you got that list of the husband's friends?
Uh-huh.
Well, let's talk to them. Maybe they can tell us where he is.
Okay.
Hot shot. I'll get it.
What is it?
Stats office is going to have to wait, I guess.
Huh?
1824 Studio Court.
Well, that's a couple of blocks from Kieran's. What's the call?
Woman slugged. We left the office and we drove over to the address, code 3. It was a small house set well back on the lot. When we got there, a felony car out of Hollywood Division had already arrived and the crime lab had been called. The victim was identified as a Mrs. Milo Hudson, age 42. An ambulance was dispatched from Hollywood Receiving Hospital and she was given first aid. She'd been beaten about the head and shoulders. As soon as the attendants had finished, Frank and I talked to her.
If you'll just tell us what happened, please.
Awful thing. Most awful thing ever happened to me.
Yes, ma'am. Did you get a good look at the man?
Pretty good. Not real good, but I did see him.
Could you describe him for us?
How do you mean?
Well, how tall was he?
I guess about as tall as you.
Be about 5'11"?
If that's how tall you are.
Yes, ma'am. How about his weight? Was he heavy or light?
About like him.
That'd be about 180, huh?
I guess so. I don't know, but I guess that's about what it is.
What about his face? Did you see that?
Yes, sir. Got a good look.
You'd know him again if you saw him, would you?
I certainly would. Never forget that face. Not if I live to be 100, I'll never forget it.
Now, could you give us a good description of him?
Had dark hair, almost black, kind of curly. Little wave right here in front.
Mm-hmm.
Had blue eyes. Dark blue, might have been kind of hazel color. Dark.
Mm-hmm. Was he clean shaven?
You mean, did he have a mustache?
Yes, ma'am.
No, didn't have anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything about him that might make it easier for us to identify him?
I don't think I know what you mean.
Well, did he have any scars, any birthmarks, anything like that?
Let me think. Seems there was something, but I can't remember what.
This man say anything to you?
Not at first. When he came in, he didn't say a word, just pointed the gun at me and motioned back into the house, like he wanted me to get back there.
Uh-huh, but he did say something to you later, is that right?
Yes. When we got to the bedroom and he started to go through the place, I told him he better get out because my husband would be coming in any minute.
I see.
He smiled and said he knew George didn't get home till 4:30.
He used your husband's name, did he?
Yes. Come to think of it, he did. I didn't pay much attention to it before, but he did.
Do you think you ever saw that man before?
Not that I remember.
But you're sure you'd know him if you saw him again?
I sure would. See, I remember what it was about him.
Yes?
You know, you wanted something about him that'd make it easier to tell if he was the right man.
That's right.
He had a scar. Small one right here, by his eye. Made it look like his left eye was real big. Gave him a funny look.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you meant?
Yes, ma'am.
I wonder if you'd come down to City Hall and go through some pictures for us.
Well, I want to do everything I can to help. I'm supposed to check with my doctor. If he says it's all right, I'll be there. When would you want me?
Well, if you could make it in the morning.
If the doctor says it's all right, I'll be there.
Okay, thanks, Mrs. Hudson.
We can send a car for you if you like.
Might be better if you did. George likes to sleep late and I don't drive.
All right, ma'am. We'll call you in the morning.
Sure hope you can catch the person who's done this. Lord knows how many more people he's going to hurt.
Yes, ma'am.
Just seems to know all about people. When they're going to be alone and all, seems to know all about them.
Mm-hmm.
Knew right where everything in this house was, all the way. Knew right down to a T.
You're sure you never saw him before, is that right?
Positive. You don't forget that kind of face. See it once and you remember it all your life.
Was there been anybody new in the neighborhood?
I don't understand what you mean.
Well, like any salesman, door-to-door canvassers, anything like that.
Residential neighborhood like this, there's always somebody around trying to sell something. Must be a couple of people a day comes the door. But I'm sure the man who hit me wasn't one of them.
All right, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Not at all, Sergeant. I want to do all I can to help you get him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea who he is, where to find him?
Not very much, Miss Hudson.
Terrible to think about it. A man like that roaming the streets. Woman isn't safe in her own home anymore.
We'll get to him, ma'am.
I should hope so. But what do we do in the meantime? Just sit here and wait for this lunatic to kick the doors down?
Well, we'll do everything we can.
Awful. I'll never forget how he came in here, shoved me around. Just never forget it.
Well, it makes you even.
What?
He won't either. We got out a supplemental broadcast carrying the description of the suspect, and then we continued to talk to the latest victim. She was unable to come up with any additional information. 4:30 a.m. The crew from the crime lab finished up their investigation, and Frank and I went back to the office. We left the description of the suspect at the stats office, and we asked R&I to check the oddity file for a possible identification on the scar that the suspect had. 5:21 a.m. We signed out of the office. The next day at 9:26 a.m., we met with Chief Brown and Captain Donahoe, and we went over the case with them. Because of the method of operation used, it became apparent that the thief was acquainted with the habits of the people in the neighborhood. 2 additional teams of men were assigned to the case, and they began to canvass the area for information on people who appeared to be loitering in the vicinity. It was also decided to assign 3 more police units to patrol the streets during the night hours. We checked all FI cards that had been filed in the area. That afternoon, Milo Hudson came down to the office and went through the mug books, but she was unable to make an identification. She was shown pictures of Tom Kieran, the husband of the first victim, but she stated positively that he was not the man who'd beaten her. The list of possibles came back from the stats office and was checked without result. A week went by. In spite of the additional men involved, the suspect hit 3 more times. In each case, the M.O. was the same. In each case, he escaped. However, we were able to get a little more information on him. We had the artist in Crime Analysis Division draw up a composite picture of the suspect, and we had it distributed to all officers in the city. The daily papers ran it on their front pages. Thursday, January 24th, 5:20 p.m. Frank and I got back to the office from dinner.
I want to call Faye and tell her it looks like a late night.
All right, I'll check the book.
Anything?
No. We called her from Pinky.
Yeah?
He and Leitner talked to that magazine salesman.
Check out?
No. The guy just got in town a couple of days ago. Description's pretty far off.
Oh.
I got it. Robbery Friday. Yes, ma'am, that's right. Mm-hmm. Well, we can take it. All right. What's that address again? Yes, that's Studio Court. Yes, ma'am, we'll be right out. No, don't do anything. If he wants to leave, don't try to stop him. That's right, we'll be right there. Woman out on Studio Court.
Yeah.
Says she thinks the suspect's in her house now.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Meet the Tom Harmons. You know Tom as Michigan's All-American football star, now a top sports announcer. Mrs. Harmon is the motion picture and television star Elise Knox. They're typical of people everywhere who are saying, Chesterfields for me.
I like regular-sized Chesterfields. Have for years. They're best for me, at least I think so, because of that Chesterfield quality.
That's the way I feel about them, too. I've always smoked Chesterfields. Now I go for the king size. Guess I like a longer smoke.
No king-size cigarette satisfies like king-size Chesterfield. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, a really refreshing smoke every time, change to Chesterfield. Regular or king-size, America's most popular two-way cigarette.
Frank and I left the office and drove over to the address we'd been given on the phone. As we pulled up in front of the house, we could see a man standing on the porch. We got out of the car and we went up the walk. At the front door, we met the woman who'd called. She said that the man had rung the doorbell and had tried to force his way into the house. She went on to say that her husband wasn't home and that she'd managed to stall the man until we got there. We took him back to the city hall and talked to him in the interrogation room. He identified himself as Victor Nadell. Frank went down the hall to run him through records and identification.
A lot of trouble you guys are causing me. No reason for all this.
What were you doing at that house?
Trying to earn a living.
You have to force your way in to do that?
Well, that old broad's off her rocker. I didn't try to get into the place.
She says you did.
She's flipped.
What do you do for a living?
I work. You know another way?
What kind of work?
Salesman.
What do you sell?
Right now I'm selling lots.
Real estate?
Yeah.
Where?
Tract out in the desert.
Who do you work for?
I don't think I'm going to tell you that. You're not going to get them in no trouble.
We're going to find out anyway. Now, why don't you save yourself a lot of grief and tell us?
You get paid, you dig it out.
You ever been arrested?
A couple of times.
Where?
Oklahoma.
What for?
Call it hijacking.
Robbery?
Same thing.
You ever do any time?
No, they couldn't nail it down.
Where do you live?
Got a room down on East 5th, room and privileges.
Who do you work for?
That's your job.
How long you been in town?
A couple of months.
You been working for this real estate company since you got here?
Yeah, I got the job a couple of days after I got off the train.
How'd you get it?
Answered an ad.
You ever see that woman out on Studio Court before?
No.
You don't know her?
I told you.
She'd have no reason to tie a bad beef on you, would she?
She's doing it, ain't she?
It's kind of silly without any reason in it.
Well, she's a woman. That's all they need.
All right, empty your pockets out on the table here.
Why?
Come on. We're not playing games here. Empty your pockets.
What's this all about? What are you guys trying to prove with all this strong
We're trying to find out why you wanted to break into that house.
I told you I didn't break into the house. That old harpy's out of her mind to tell you a thing like that. I don't know why, but she's got it in for me. Wants to see me get into trouble.
You said you didn't know her.
That's right.
You never saw her before.
That's what I said.
And why'd she build a thing like this?
I told you I don't know it's a lie. I walked up to the door and asked if I could talk to her. Just try to talk to her. Right away she starts yelling at me to get away, get off the property.
Why didn't you leave then?
I wanted to make a sale.
You must have figured she wasn't interested.
I needed to make a sale. I haven't been doing too good. I had to make a sale or I'd have lost my job.
That's a reason to act like a tough guy, isn't it?
All I did was try to talk to her, talk her into buying
you got a funny way of doing it.
I thought maybe she was going to call the police, make a complaint. If she'd have done that, I'd have lost my job, sure.
And that's all there is to it.
I'm telling you the truth. You got to believe me.
You been working in the neighborhood before?
No, it's the first time. I've been kind of sick the last week. This is the first time out for me. First time I've been around here.
Where'd you work before?
Westlake area.
You ever have any trouble there?
No, none.
Why'd you make the switch then?
Just thought I'd try a new territory, see if I could make up for the week I lost.
Mm-hmm. You got anybody who'll back up this story for you?
People at my rooming house, I'll tell you. They'll say I was there all week, some kind of flu, they'll tell you.
Joe?
Yeah.
See you a minute.
Yeah.
You want me to wait here?
That's right. Just sit there. What do you got?
Well, looks like we nailed the wrong guy.
What do you figure?
Call just came in. Radio car picked up a fellow out on Rosewood Avenue.
Yeah.
Caught him in a house trying to beat a woman to death.
How about the description?
Matches the suspect right down the line.
Victor Nadell was booked in at the main jail pending further investigation. We were unable to connect him with any robbery, but Perry Thomas of the city attorney's office issued a complaint charging violation of Section 415 of the Penal Code. At 7:46 p.m., the suspect we'd gotten a call about arrived at the city hall. He was fingerprinted and checked through R&I. We found that he'd served a year and a day in New York State for breaking and entering. He'd served a sentence in the state of Washington on similar charges. Physically, he matched the description we'd gotten from the victims. While Pinky Meade and Dee Leitner contacted the women and asked them to come down to the office, Frank and I questioned the suspect. Rudolph Marnell, is that your true name?
Yes, sir.
Where do you live?
My home's out in Hollywood.
It's a big place. Narrow it down, will you?
Ledgewood Drive, 2917.
You ever been arrested?
Yeah, you know that. It was a mistake, though.
Both times?
Well, the second time was because of the first.
What do you mean by that?
Well, once you've done time, it seems like anything goes wrong, the cops are on your back, just like this.
Mm-hmm. You want to tell us what happened out there tonight?
You mean on Rosewood?
That's right.
Big misunderstanding.
Well, you tell us about it, will you?
I wanted to use her phone. I don't know. I guess she got scared about something. All I wanted to do was make a call.
How'd you ask her?
Regular way. Told her I was in trouble. Asked if I could phone. Next thing I know, she's screaming up a storm. There's cops all around me.
According to this report, you didn't stop when you were told. Is that right?
I guess so.
Well, is it or isn't it?
Yeah.
Why'd you run?
Well, I didn't know what was going on. I got a record. I had enough to do with cops to last me the rest of my life. As soon as I heard the sirens, I took off. I guess I didn't hear that cop tell me to stop.
Yeah. Kind of hard to believe.
Well, you believe the woman who says I tried to slug her. You believe her, but you don't believe me. You see, that's what I meant.
What's that?
Well, as soon as you fall once, there's a dozen cops right behind you all the time waiting to stomp on you.
You ever figure that you helped build it that way?
Well, it reads good, but you ain't got nobody on your tail.
All right. Now tell us again about tonight.
I told the cops who picked me up. I told the cop who fingerprinted me. I already told you once. Now, how many times you want to hear it?
Until we get it the right way.
Well, how are you going to know?
We'll find it. Come on. Go down to the interrogation room. Go ahead. Down this way.
Go ahead, right in there.
Sit down. All right, Marnell, now let's clean it up.
What do you mean?
You know we're going to have no trouble making you on these things. We got the victims on their way down here now. As soon as they identify you, you've had it. So save yourself a lot of time and trouble if you cop out now.
I'd like to give you a hand, Sarge. I really would, but there's nothing I can do. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. What were you doing on January 10th?
10th?
That's right.
What day was it?
Thursday.
Gee, I don't know. It's a long time ago. It's hard to remember.
How about the 11th?
Same. I don't remember.
14th?
Yeah, I can tell you about that.
All right, go ahead.
I got through work and went home, met the wife, we had dinner, took in a show.
You can prove that?
Well, sure. Ask my wife. She'll tell you.
All right. How about Wednesday the 16th?
Blank.
You don't remember what you were doing on the 16th of January, huh?
No. Is it important?
It's going to be for you.
How about the 17th?
That'd be Thursday?
That's right.
I stayed home and watched the wrestling on television.
You can prove that, can you?
Sure. Had some people in to watch the matches.
Give us their names, will you?
Yeah.
Who was wrestling that night?
Oh, you want them all or just the main?
Well, how about the semi-windup?
Well, let me think. Yeah, it was a tag team match between the McLean brothers and the South Twins.
You're sure?
I'm positive.
How about the 19th? What'd you do then?
19th. That would be
Saturday.
Well, I'm off Saturday. I don't remember too good. Probably came home, sat around the house, drank beer, and loafed.
Mm-hmm. That was Saturday the 19th.
Yeah, the 19th.
How about Monday the 21st?
I bowled that night.
Where?
Lane's out on Sunset.
Bowl there all the time?
Yeah.
You bowl every Monday night?
No, not every week. Usually it's on Tuesday.
Why'd you change this week?
Well, some of the guys couldn't make it Tuesday, so we changed the day.
Mm-hmm. Anything special to you about January 14th, 17th, 21st?
Now, what do you mean special?
Well, your birthday, your anniversary, something like that?
No.
Just regular days.
That's right.
Nothing to make them stand out.
No.
Then how come you can remember what you were doing on those days? You can't give us a story to fit January 10th, 11th, 16th, or 19th.
I don't know. What are you guys trying to get me to say? What are you trying to get at?
The truth.
Well, I'm giving it to you.
We can't see it.
How come you remember those days?
I don't know. I just do.
It's kind of funny. I couldn't remember what I was doing last week. I'd have to sit down and think about it.
You didn't even have to try to remember. You knew right away, didn't you?
Like it was important for you to remember.
You keep trying to build an alibi, don't you?
Look, you asked me where I was. I told you.
Let's have the names of the people you say you're with.
You gonna talk to them?
That's right.
Well, maybe they won't remember.
I think they will.
But what happens if they don't?
Then you're in big trouble.
You're holding a lot of it right now.
Let's have the names.
Sure, I haven't got nothing to worry about. I'll give them to you.
Here's a pencil. Paper there.
I don't know all the addresses.
We'll look them up.
You're gonna have to talk to them, huh?
Sure. What's the matter? You think they won't stand behind you?
No, it's not that.
And what is it?
Well, just that they don't know I've done time. Maybe when they find out, they'll try to get me. You know, say they weren't with me. They might do that.
Yeah, like that woman tonight.
Yeah, just like that.
People don't like you much, do they, Marnell? Seems like everybody's trying to get you in trouble.
I want a lawyer.
You want to check, Frank, see if the victims are here?
Yeah.
But what's going to happen now?
Well, we got some people we want to see you.
Who are they?
The women you beat up.
No, you can't make me on those jobs.
We think we can.
Yeah, well, you just try. You take this thing into court, and they're going to throw it right out.
That's the way you got it figured, is it?
That's right.
Go ahead, Frank. Bring him in.
All right.
I said I want a lawyer.
What?
I said I want a lawyer.
Yeah, well, you'll get one.
Yeah, and a jury. I want a jury trial.
You got a choice.
You bet I have. You bring all these women down here to point me out, well, it isn't going to work. A bunch of people who don't like me, causing me trouble. People who don't like me. I want a jury trial, a judge and a jury.
All right, you'll get them. I'll make you a bet. They won't like you either.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On May 16th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. You know, the Chesterfield you smoked today is the best cigarette ever made, and best for you. Now, that's a fact. And to my way of thinking, it's the very reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Try 'em either way, regular or king size. If you try 'em, I think you'll say with all of us, Chesterfield's for me.
Rudolph August Marnell was filed on for 4 counts of robbery in the first degree, 5 counts of burglary in the first degree, and 5 counts of assault with intent to do great bodily injury. He was found guilty by a jury trial on all counts and received sentence as prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years. Burglary in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years. Assault with intent to do great bodily harm is punishable by a term of from 1 to 20 years in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Virginia Gregg, Helen Cleve. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter cigarette smokers, here is headline news. Nationwide demand for L&M filters drops price. Now you save up to 4 cents a pack, 40 cents a carton. Now everyone can afford America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette. Remember, only L&M's have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette at the new low price. L&M filters.